under Shane Beamer. It's an in-state kid, and he committed with Syrup. So, just a big time weekend. A lot of buzz now. So I think South Carolina they've moved up to 23. I think on 3 they've moved it to 23. So you've got a top 25 class now. You've got some buzz, and you got to keep the thing rolling because I just look around Twitter and I saw a lot of buzz for South Carolina, and then I also saw a lot of buzz for Florida. Florida had a monster week too, so you could be happy about what you're doing, but you got to compare yourself to everyone else. And there's some other teams starting to roll right now in the recruiting rankings. Billy Napier's got that thing hot right now in Gainesville, so it's now a matter of just keeping up with the Joneses, and you got to use this, and you just got to finish this class really strong because you're on an absolute roll right now. Top 25 class, and you got to make sure you secure that and hopefully try to get into the top 20 before this thing's over.
Alabama had a big weekend. I know that they're not a yearly opponent for South Carolina, and who knows what they'll be in the future there as new schedules come out. But you're right, Alabama had a big weekend. They land a big time running back recruit, Richard Young. They're now number 4 in the nation. Georgia's number 3. Texas is number 5. So if you're just talking SEC teams, Alabama Georgia, Alabama, Texas, 3, 4, 5, and I think Notre Dame's number 1, Ohio State's number 2 in the 24/7 Sports top 25. You're right. South Carolina does move up to 22nd now with 7 4-stars out of the 15 commitments that they have. Florida, as you mentioned, now with 14 4-stars out of their 16 commitments. Yeah, Florida. What was it, Patrick? Was it 2 months ago at this time? About June 1st. Florida fans were kind of ready to fire Billy Napier. Hadn't even coached a game, and Billy Napier was already on the hot seat for the Florida football fans who were ready to run him out of Gainesville. Flip the script through the month of June and July, and here we sit now as Billy Napier's been able to turn that thing around and make Florida fans a little bit happier after a strong summer of recruiting.
Yeah, I mean, they've just landed what was it in the last 3 days? It was like 6 4-stars or something like that. It was ridiculous. And now they're also still expecting to get Cormani McLean, who could end up being the number 1 overall player in the class. Yeah, Florida's rolling right now. So everything that Florida fans are upset about now, they've got to do a complete 180. So yeah, as exciting as this is for South Carolina's got to finish strong at this point because you're only as good as what your competition is going to be too. So you feel really good. This is what you expected under Shane Beamer after year 1, after the Duke's Mayo Bowl, after the Rattler announcement and the Stogner announcement. You expected to start landing some big time guys. This was going to be the snowball effect that we all wanted, and now it's starting to come to fruition. I think you're starting to actually really like how this class looked. I don't know if you asked 2 weeks ago and said, how satisfied are you with this class? You'd look around and you'd say, well, there's some really good defensive backs that you can get excited about, a couple, interior offensive linemen. You're excited about Grayson Howard, Pup Howard, but ultimately, who are the game changers in this class? And right now you've just added at really important positions on both sides of the line of scrimmage, really good players. So I think you can start feeling really good about this class. You just got to now finish it off with a couple more big time blue chip players.
Yeah, they'll have that opportunity over the next several months there. South Carolina's got a chance, really, if they are to land in the month of August, if they are to land Carmelo Taylor and Big Tree Babalade, or I like how I said that. We'll go with that. Big Tree Babalade. They've got a chance to move into the top 18 there of the recruiting class and continue to move up over the final half. Xavier McLeod is another one who has at least indicated that he may be on the verge of ready to make a commitment, and his commitment could also move South Carolina into the top 15. So certainly recruiting is something that we'll keep an eye on. But if you want to weigh in on that this morning, 803-404-6100. As again, it is interesting. South Carolina with the number 22 class, but according to 24/7 Sports, just the number 7 class in the SEC. So yeah, you've got to continue. South Carolina has to do it through a combination, Patrick, of landing good prospects, but also the coaching staff being able to develop players. That was the success of Steve Spurrier's era when you looked at guys who maybe were not as highly thought of, guys such as a Connor Shaw, guys such as a DJ Swearinger, such as a Devin Taylor, guys who certainly were not on the same recruiting level as Jadeveon Clowney's or Marcus Lattimore's or Alshon Jeffries. Those were players that Brad Lawing and Lorenzo Ward and obviously Spurrier and G.A. Mangus were able to develop during their time at the University of South Carolina. So we'll get into that a lot this morning. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. You can be a part of the program. We'll get into some NFL news. Matt Corral, Patrick, is turning heads at Carolina Panthers camp, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about that, maybe what you think could happen there. Deebo Samuel yesterday gets his brand new contract. Good news for him. I'll get your take on that. And then some unfortunate news from the world of the NBA. Bill Russell passing away yesterday at the age of 88, an 11-time NBA champion, one of the greatest winners ever in the history of sports, and certainly kind of a sad day yesterday for the sporting world, losing not just a champion on the court, but a champion off the court with the passing of Bill Russell. Did you have much of a knowledge or memory? Obviously, I'm 40. I didn't really have a knowledge of Bill Russell either. So, but was there anything in particular that you remembered about Bill Russell?
No, just that I think he was the first, in the way I know the NBA, the first like truly dominant big man in the history, basically, of the game. And the way I perceive it is he just came in and was so much better than everyone that he just dominated, and that's why they won 11 championships, because he just was completely unstoppable at that time. So I think he was also, like borderline, he was not 7 feet, but like I guess close to 7 feet in a time where that didn't really exist. So no, just I know that like everyone was like, even going back to Michael Jordan and all the other guys, like basically take their hat off to Bill Russell at all times and give him like the ultimate respect. And he's just like the ultimate champion in NBA. So I know very little about him overall, other than just like legendary winner, and everyone respects him.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on that, if you want to weigh in recruiting. And of course, we'll get to that Deebo Samuel contract information. We'll also get to our own birthday boy this morning, Gamecock Larry, waiting patiently on the phone lines. It is August 1st. We are ready to get going with college football here in South Carolina. We'll get going on Friday morning. Thursday, everybody will report. Friday morning will be the first official practice. So we are in countdown mode till that. Shane Beamer will meet with media one more time on Thursday afternoon, and we will be off and running this week into the start of college football season again Thursday night. You even got a little NFL preseason, Jags, Raiders from Canton, Ohio. So a lot to get into this morning, including Deebo Samuel's new contract. Get Patrick's take on that. Did you see A.J. Brown's tweet last night, Patrick?
I did not.
He said there was 4 of them. I was trying to remember who the 4th one was. It was he, Samuel, DK Metcalf. I wonder if he was throwing Devontae Adams in there. When he said
it would have been DK, Deebo, AJ Brown, and Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin. He said all 4 got their brand new contracts. He's the only one that got traded. Maybe it wasn't his fault. So he stood up for himself there, AJ Brown. But all 4 of those wide receivers. I'll get your take on who won. When you break down McLaurin, you break down Metcalf, AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel. We'll get your take on Deebo Samuel. And again, we'll get to Gamecock Larry this morning. A lot to do here, a lot to get into. Hope you're up and at 'em on a Monday morning. The sun rising, the beautiful skies taking place. It's going to be a warm one, so try and stay cool this week. But we'll get you ready for the start of college football season. A lot to talk about. 803-404-6100 if you want to be a part of the program. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. We are officially into football season, and what does that mean? Well, it means you better be ready to go. You better have a great night of sleep and be fired up and ready to wake up rested, refreshed, and attack the day, because football season is here. With a Sleep Number bed, that's exactly what you can do. It's exactly what I do. I put the Sleep Number setting on 485, and I'll wake up rested, refreshed. I'm ready to go each and every day. You can do the same. Right now, don't miss Sleep Number's weekend special with their lowest price ever. Save $500 on the Sleep Number 360 C4 Smart Bed Queen. Now only $1,299 plus free home delivery when you add a base. But this deal ends today, Monday, August the 1st, and it's only at a Sleep Number store. 2 to choose from, one in Irmo on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings, the other in Columbia, 2 nights right across from Sand Hills Mall, and you can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. People always ask, why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? And I tell them, because every great day starts the night before. So again, don't miss Sleep Number's weekend special, their lowest price ever. Save $500 on the Sleep Number 360 C4 Smart Bed Queen. Now only $1,299 plus free home delivery when you add a base. So you need to make that switch today. Find out just how great a Sleep Number bed is and how great a fantastic night of sleep truly is. So make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like. Get some coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Great start to your Monday morning, and we're looking for a forecast today of a high of 95, 96 tomorrow. The heat and humidity kind of cranks back up tomorrow. And on Wednesday, could see some storms around and a high of 95. Right now, though, it's not too shabby. It's 72 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute. Cincinnati slugger Joey Votto is known as one of the most interesting men in baseball. In a recent Game Time interview, I asked him about the robo-umpires that may be coming to the majors soon.
All right. Up and running. And sounds like another extremely hot day out there.
Yeah, not too bad.
At the basketball camp inside.
What's the age group for the basketball camp?
I think the oldest is, I know this actually. I've got the, it is ages 6 to 12.
Okay.
6 to 12. So, oh boy. Yeah, Patrick was SummerSlam. Was it SummerSlam that was this weekend in Nashville?
Mm-hmm.
How was it up there? Was it a big party scene?
It was not. No. I mean, it's always a big party scene. It's hard to. An event has to be really, really massive to be noticeable.
Really?
This one,
I've never been up there for a big scene.
Well, there's always a big scene. That's what I'm saying.
Just because it's Nashville?
Yeah, like there's always concerts and things like that. So,
what side of town?
I don't know.
What side of town are you on?
The east right now. We're pretty close to the stadium. I could walk to the stadium.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
When you say you could walk to the stadium, like a 20-minute walk, a 30-minute walk, like.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, because you gotta have to walk through a sketchy area. But let's see. Yeah, it's about a mile and a half.
Not bad.
So 20-some minutes. I checked the schedule though. I'm not going to a game this year.
Hey,
the Titans
I would only,
game?
I would only go to a primetime game because I don't want to watch them play at the same time that Washington's playing. So their only primetime home game this year is Christmas Eve. I'm not going. I don't think I'm going.
Yeah,
to
that's a problem.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. You might get tickets and maybe try and go to a half or something. Or yeah, you're right.
No, I actually have a ticket, like a free ticket to that game already.
Oh, really?
Just for a weird situation, but I'm just gonna sell it because I won't be here on Christmas Eve. And then for the Predators, the day that the Predators play the Capitals, I'm gonna be in Maryland for a wedding, of course.
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
I haven't been to a Predators game yet, but when the Predators play the Capitals, I'm going to be in Maryland.
Oh, that's a shame.
That happened last year too.
Morning, Willie. When is that?
October 28th or 29th.
Oh, okay. So they do play them on a weekend at least, but yeah, you won't be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
The early game.
With Bill Gunther, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
On your home of the Gamecocks. The early game.
107.5 The Game.
(803-404-6100) if you want to weigh in this morning on anything. It was a busy weekend, a fun weekend. Football now really fun. This is really it for the last weekend without a lot of football. You'll get the Pro Football Hall of Fame game on Thursday night, but no other games unless you want to get into the Canadian Football League, Patrick. I may or may not have watched a little bit of Canadian Football League on Saturday night, but this will be it for a weekend with no games to watch. And then after this coming weekend, you start getting preseason games every weekend, and that'll lead us up to August 27th, in which we will have for you the week 0 of college football, that huge Nebraska Northwestern game. We'll get fired up about that. Reminder, August 26th will be a Friday. That will be our 15th anniversary golf tournament out at Charwood Golf Club. You would definitely want to be out there and be a part of that. You need to come out. You can get signed up. You can call over to Charwood and get registered. $100 per person, $400 per team is how you can do it. It'll be our 15th annual, not our annual, but our 15th anniversary golf tournament. August the 26th. We'll have breakfast and lunch out there. We'll be out there broadcasting. Should be a lot of fun, and look forward to seeing you out there as well. Daniel and Rock Lucas out at Charwood have always done a fantastic job taking care of us. We look forward to seeing you out there. Prizes, raffles, plenty of stuff going on as we get you ready for the start of college football season. That'll be August 26th. So, Patrick, we are officially there, or at least in some capacity, almost there as we get going. Carlton reminding us this morning, high school up and running, first day of shoulder pads and shorts, I believe, for most of the high schools out there. I saw Chris Deering making the rounds on Friday, so a lot of high schools getting going as well. So good luck to all those coaches and players this morning as they get going. Richard weighing in on our text line says, happy birthday to Gamecock Larry. Shares a birthday with his brother. York weighing in on our text line said, Bill Russell and Nichelle Nichols of Star Trek, 2 civil rights icons gone. Yeah, Bill Russell, that was the sad news over the weekend. And I got to admit, I'm not a Star Trek guy, Patrick. So Nichelle Nichols, I did see that yesterday, but was not as familiar with her or her role in Star Trek. Were you a Star Trek kid growing up? Were you at least get into it a little bit?
No. I watched the movies with Chris Pine, like the 2 new movies. I've never seen one episode of the original show or the original movies. So unless she plays a character that was also played in one of those 2 movies, I cannot place her.
Okay. Yeah, it's but unfortunate, but certainly not because of Star Trek, not something I was very familiar with. 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program this morning if you want to do so. Let's get out to that Love Chevy phone line, Jen, where a birthday boy, a young birthday boy who's just stopped counting at 69, is on the phone lines. Happy birthday, Gamecock Larry. How you feeling this morning?
Well, I'm feeling okay, I guess, but I just want to thank the good Lord for 88 years. About 88 years ago, just about 40 miles from down here, all Swamp, South Carolina. Been around a few places, but I'm back 40 miles from where I was born. I guess I'm home, but I want to. My nephew came by yesterday. Mike Dodger talked to me a while. I appreciate him coming by. But I want to thank 107.5 for giving me the opportunity to be able to just run my mouth And, all you folks know I'm just cutting the fool, but a lot of times I'm saying what I think before I engage my brain. And sometimes I say some things I shouldn't say. Sometimes I say things I should say. That's all about that. But I don't feel too good. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to just go ahead and give you a prediction. And then we'll go from there, and then we'll have 33 days, I think, before kickoff. But the worst the Gamecocks will do this year will be 9-3. That's the worst. And the worst is if Georgia beats us in the third game of the season, we'll wind up number 2 in the SEC. When the Gamecocks beat Georgia in the third game of the season, when, not if, but when the Gamecocks beat Georgia in the third game of the season, the Gamecocks will win the SEC East. When the Gamecocks are going in the end of the season, they will play Alabama or Arkansas in the SEC championship game. When the Gamecocks win that game, I said we'll be in the Final Four in 2024. The Gamecocks says we're going to be in the Final Four in 2022. I'm saying 9-3, but until we lose one, I'm saying 12-0. Go Gamecocks. Love you, boys, and Patrick and all Gamecock Nation. Love all y'all. Go Gamecocks.
Good to
Happy
hear
birthday,
from you.
sir.
Happy birthday. That's right. Number 88. So that is, hey, we'll take that prediction this morning there as that was, he's in a good mood. He's feeling it. And I think he's as ready as anybody, Patrick, for a little Raiders Jags on Thursday night. You can kind of feel it in his voice there. A little NFL to get him going. Kind of an appetizer is what he's excited for.
He should enjoy the Hall of Fame game. It's not all the high-priced athletes. It's going to be all the guys that are fighting for roster spots. You just battle it out for 4 quarters, playing for love of the game and fighting tooth and nail for their careers. That's what America loves, right?
It's true. It's true. Unfortunately, Deebo Samuel is now a guy who is a high-priced athlete. He has got his new contract. We will get Patrick Perrett's take on that. A pretty solid contract for one Deebo Samuel as he gets paid yesterday. And he does it in a manner, Patrick, where he's in line to, at 29 years of age, be right there for another big-time contract. A good job by Deebo Samuel and his agent yesterday. We'll get into that, why Deebo Samuel really did hit the jackpot, not just with this contract, but potentially with another one coming up in 3 years. We'll tell you about that. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, and Jen Jensen. It is the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007. George W. Bush was president.
And I thank Vice President Gore for a contest conducted with spirit.
Apple announced a new device called the iPhone.
Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
And on November 12th, 2007, 107.5 The Game went on the air.
For the Delta Dental Studios in KC, South Carolina, alongside Deuce Taylor and our producer, Michael Haney, I'm Jay Phillips. So glad to have you with us here on our inaugural launch of 107.5 The Game. Choked up already. Very excited about today.
And now we're going to celebrate our 15th anniversary with you, because without you, there is no us. Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner. Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Seeing that there is one accident out there, North Point Boulevard at Community Road. In your forecast for today, it's going to be kind of warm. Just a slight chance for an afternoon shower or something, but looking for a high today of 95. Some humidity comes back into the forecast tomorrow, the high of 96, but starting off strong this morning, it is 72 at 107.5 The Game.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore.
For some reason, the air signal just sounds too loud, like almost kind of splattered.
Yeah, I mean, I've been messing with my volume, at least on my computer. But yeah, I know what you're saying there. Craig, I'm off Saturday. I'm gonna leave sometime around midnight on Saturday night because we're driving, and I'm gonna drive through the night with the intention of getting to the bridge around 10 a.m. so that we can kind of cruise out. I told my kids, especially my daughter, I don't think my son cares quite as much, but you got to make that drive one time and drive across the bridge out there and kind of enjoy the scenery and everything. So I've already got a couple places we're going to stop going out because I think check-in is at 3:00. Check-in is at 3:00 at the Margaritaville Beach House in Key West. So we'll make the drive. One time in my life, I will drive from Columbia to Key West. I can't decide whether I'm excited or terrified. I feel like it's my own personal version of National Lampoon's Vacation.
Well, with them sleeping, that should help.
Yeah, that's another reason. Instead of leaving like Sunday morning, if we leave at like midnight, drive through the night, just get down there. Then all I got to do is just catch up on sleep a little bit when we get down there, and I'll be fine. But that's kind of the plan. Hey, how you feel? Okay. You up and at 'em? Okay. Why don't you?
Oh, it's so loud. You're so low.
This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather.
$6:36 on your Monday morning as you get up, get at them. I think from tomorrow. I know it is for my kids. I can't speak for all the kids out there, but I think from tomorrow it is about 2 weeks left until school starts. So unbelievable. The first day of August, Patrick, we have motored right through the summer, and now we sit here, football just out in front of us. And Patrick, it has been a turbulent few months for the San Francisco 49ers and Deebo Samuel. I think back during the draft period, back at the end of April, we thought that Samuel was likely to hit the trade market and be tossed somewhere else. But yesterday, Patrick, it all comes to a peaceful ending with a very good contract. I think this is one of those ones I think everybody wins. 3-year extension, $73.5 million, $58.1 million in guarantees. And Patrick, the best part of this, if you're Deebo Samuel, is you're getting paid now, and you're setting it up for when you're 29 years of age to maybe get one more pretty sizable contract if you can stay healthy over the next 3 years. I think everybody in this thing won yesterday.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot. It is a lot of guaranteed money, and Deebo is a year older than like DK and AJ Brown. I think Terry McLaurin is the same age as Deebo, but yeah, he'll have a chance. He's just got to stay healthy, and I think the biggest thing for him was this guaranteed money. I mean, it was a monster guaranteed contract, 58 guaranteed, almost twice what DK got guaranteed. It's more than Terry got guaranteed, and it's actually about what AJ Brown got guaranteed, and AJ Brown got a 4-year deal. So all 4 of these guys that are all pretty elite. I would say AJ Brown's the best of the bunch. He got the best deal, 4-year, $100 million. Terry got 3-year, $71 with I think 53 guaranteed. DK got 3 years, 72 with 31 guaranteed, and Deebo 3 years, 71.5, 58 guaranteed. So Deebo, because of the situation he's in, being unhappy about his role and how it's going to make him less valuable down the road because of injuries and wear and tear, he got the most guaranteed money, which makes sense. So the 49ers, if he does get hurt, if they keep using him like they are and his fears come true and he does get hurt, the 49ers are going to be eating a boatload of money. Because even if it was 3-year, $58 million contract, that'd still be a big contract. You're still paying him almost $20 million a year. So you need him to be out there. As far as his next contract, yeah, I don't think he'll be able to sign probably a 5-year deal. We got to see how these next couple of years go. If he plays purely wide receiver and stays fully healthy, then that could change things. But most importantly, he secured his monster guaranteed deal. And wow, however the 49ers want to play him, it doesn't really matter because they're going to pay him regardless.
You know, the thing about this deal is you look at DK Metcalf, and he's in a rebuild in Seattle. Terry McLaurin in Washington is obviously going to be a big part of Carson Wentz taking steps forward and becoming a more consistent quarterback or leading the Commanders to something big. I don't know what to make of A.J. Brown in Philadelphia because it feels like in April the Eagles may be looking for a new quarterback in the draft, Patrick. I don't know what to make of those. You can make the case that of all of these 4 wide receivers, the 49ers needed Deebo Samuel the most because the 49ers are still in Super Bowl contention mode. You can't say that about the Seahawks. I don't think you can say it about the Eagles, and you can't say it about the Commanders. The 49ers are still there, but you've got to have that weapon in Deebo Samuel to help ease the transition of Trey Lance. I mean, the 49ers are taking a big chance here. They know what they have with Jimmy Garoppolo, and with that in mind, they're going to move on from him, and they're going to go to their number 3 pick in the draft and Trey Lance. And if they're going to do that, you better have your prime weapon to help ease that transition, right? Like the 49ers were in a position where I can't tell you for certain that A.J. Brown had the Eagles over a barrel. I can't tell you that McLaurin had the Commanders over a barrel, and I'm not sure really the DK Metcalf situation because it feels like Seattle's going full-blown rebuild there with Drew Lock at the moment. The 49ers are still in Super Bowl contention, and they had to have Deebo Samuel.
Well, that's interesting because I think we have to assume some level of baseline for Trey Lance to say that they're a contender. The reason we say that Washington and Philly aren't contenders is because of the quarterback situation. Like Philly's roster, I would not say is substantially worse than the Niners roster. But for some reason, we're assuming maybe you give the benefit of the doubt to Kyle Shanahan because he's already been there. But are we assuming that Trey Lance is better than Jalen Hurts? I mean, we really have no idea. But the reason that Philly's not a contender is because of Jalen Hurts at quarterback, or at least that's what we think. The reason Washington's not a contender is because Carson Wentz, we just assume that he'll make the mistakes that lose them games. But both these teams are, I think, pretty similar roster-wise to the 49ers. So Debo might be the most important because of the pressure that he'll take off of the new starting quarterback. But, all three of these guys are going to be really important. I mean, for Jalen Hurts, this is going to be his chance to prove that he can be a starting quarterback. So A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, having those two weapons plus Dallas Goedert and a great offensive line, like that's going to be tremendous for his opportunity. He's going to have every opportunity in the world to be successful. Carson Wentz, this is his last opportunity to prove that he's a starter still, because no one's going to give him another chance. If he goes 4 for 4 teams in 4 years, that's going to be the end of his career. Nobody comes back after that. So Terry McLaurin's going to be integral in him proving that. And yeah, Deebo Samuel's going to be one of the most important things that can lead Trey Lance to a successful debut season, because of the threat of him running and taking pressure off of him, the misdirection that can allow Trey Lance running lanes, and then obviously just being the number one receiver on the team with a quarterback who hasn't played quarterback in 3 years now, because he didn't play in the COVID season. Then he was drafted and didn't play last year, and now this is going to be his first season. So he hasn't taken live really game reps in years.
803-404-6100. We will, anonymous texter says, wanted to get Patrick's thoughts on the Commanders. The roster isn't bare of talent. We'll get a little more in depth. It is football season, folks. It is August the 1st. We are up and at 'em. We've got a Hall of Fame game this coming Thursday night. The Raiders and the Jags. We've got the start of fall camp this weekend. The countdown is on. We are officially there. We'll get into that. And yesterday, another interesting ending to a NASCAR race. I watched pretty much that entire thing. There's a golf course. How come you've never once mentioned this? There is a golf course. Patrick, have you seen this? There's golf holes inside of the Brickyard.
Yeah.
No.
Brickyard Crossing is the name of the golf course. Actually, a few of the holes are inside the track, but what I'm excited but what I'm excited about is I've never actually played it, but when I go to Illinois in like a week and a half, 2 weeks, my son and I are going to play the course. So it isn't cheap. They like their tee times, but I think it's going to be cool.
I want to hear more about that, because that was pretty interesting. But a interesting race. And you know what? I don't care that Ross Chastain went from 2nd to 27th. I love the way he raced at the very end. If there's a side road and you can get to the front of the pack, you take the side road and you make NASCAR.
Sure.
NASCAR disqualify you. Patrick, did you see the ending yesterday?
Maybe nobody would notice.
They couldn't get past turn 1 because turn 1 was a hairpin turn, a 90-degree turn. So there was wrecks every time they restarted. So Chastain said, hey, there's an access road I can go down and go through a gate down here and go to the front of the line. And he's exactly what I loved it. I was all for it. We'll talk about NASCAR yesterday. A good time. Tyler Reddick, man, I narrowed it down to Chastain and Reddick, and I went the wrong way. We'll talk about that. Because you read
the odds makers pretty well. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that was something. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
2 to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Still working on an earlier accident, North Point Boulevard at Community Road. But other than that, traffic moving along fairly well this morning. Fairly cloudy, hot and humid today. I could see that stray afternoon shower or a storm. Going to be warm though, heat index of 102. Pretty much the same for tomorrow and Wednesday. Right now though, 72 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by eBay Motors. You might not have the biggest garage on the block, but with eBay Motors, there's 122 million parts right at your fingertips. Whatever you need, there's something that fits your vehicle. Air filters, tires, seat covers, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Well, now you've heard the news. Used cars are fetching historic values. Used vehicles are in short supply and demand is through the roof. So Clay Reddick here on Greystone will take any trade in any condition, even if it's not paid off. And
Unlike other dealers, Galliana Kia is selling new Kias below MSRP. Like a 2023 Kia Forte LX, just $18,990. All new 2023 Kia Sportage LX, lease for just $259 per month. Upside down in your trade? That's okay. Galliana Kia can help you too. Want to get out of your old car and get a great deal on a new Kia? New Kias in stock and below MSRP. Only at Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 is new exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Forte stock number 3K3004. Sportage stock number 3K3037. 36 month lease, $39.99 to sign. Plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. No security deposit. Negative trade equity finance to new loan. Subject to lender approval. Expires no fact.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services. Carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust, it's the right way.
I'm here with Jacob Crowder, known to our listeners as the mortgage guru. We're all hearing about mortgage rates right now. Jacob, what's the market telling you? Now more than ever, it's important to know your mortgage banker. When working in a volatile market, it's important to be well informed and have the ability to move quickly. Working with a local bank gives you access to bank products and superior service. Here at First Palmetto, we have your best interest at heart and have the ability to get the job done. Call me today, 803-719-1005, or email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com. That's good stuff, Jacob. Tell me more. We are still seeing a competitive purchase market. Having a strong pre-qualification from a local bank goes a long way with a tight market. With housing supplies still being minimal, we're doing a lot of construction loans. If you're looking to buy land and build on it, or if you're looking to build on land you already have, we're a great resource for construction loans. Call us today to discuss.
Friday, I got basketball camp with Austin this morning that I do at Saxagatha. So I'm trying to make sure he's eating breakfast and getting dressed. Why do you look confused?
Just thinking.
Oh boy. No wonder you look confused.
Yeah. It's a pretty foreign concept sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, basketball. So I'll leave here. I told Patrick about 8:45, that final segment, just so we can bolt over there. Bolt over there and
The game with the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
$6:49 on your Monday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen has a little bit of excitement in the air. It'll be a little bit more, I think, on Thursday morning, Patrick, when we actually get to a football game. I know it's a preseason game, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm staying up all night Thursday night watching Raiders and Jags. But it will be a little bit more fun to see an actual football game, not just a CFL game. So give us your breakdown, the Commanders, as we get the anonymous text away in. You got your Commanders shirt on. Well, you're not your Commanders shirt. You have a Washington Redskins shirt on. But you're ready to go. You look like you've got a little pep in your step this morning.
Yeah, I'm not as there is like a huge chasm in that fan base right now of people that are fully bought in and letting themselves get excited about Carson Wentz. I don't think I'm there. I just don't. We can maybe be a 10-win team, maybe 10-7, and that's probably about the ceiling. I like our wide receiver group quite a bit. I think Terry McLaurin, if Curtis Samuel can stay healthy, and Jahan Dotson will make us the fastest wide receiver group in the NFL, which could be pretty exciting. If at least 3 deep, because if you go 2 deep, it's obviously going to be Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I like Logan Thomas. Our offensive line's pretty good. The defensive line is supposed to be dominant, but has not been yet. But it'll be the last year of Daron Payne. Chase Young's still hurt, so he's not going to start the season healthy. I hate our linebacker group, and our secondary left a lot to be desired last year. So I actually am more confident in the offense than the defense, which is weird because people just think about Washington and they say, oh, they have 4 defensive lines on the 4 first-round picks on the defensive line, so they must be a defensive-focused team, and that really hasn't been the case because that group has not meshed well. So I think we're fully capable of winning the division. I think Dallas is a lot worse. I think Philly's better, but they still have Jalen Hurts, and I don't know if Jalen Hurts is a starting quarterback. I don't know if Carson Wentz is a starting quarterback, so that's not saying much. And then the Giants are not a factor. So it's really going to come down to, are the Cowboys still good enough, and can the Eagles click right away, and is Jalen Hurts the guy? Otherwise, Washington has as good of a chance as anybody to win the division. If they have the third best odds, I would bet them to win it.
Have you been paying attention to, I don't know how much you really got into it this weekend, Carolina Panthers camp, because, you all we're going off of right now is just reports out of Panthers camp. And I don't know what it means, whether they're giving him a chance or whether he's legitimately creating his opportunity. But Matt Corral is already getting a lot of second team reps, kind of competing with Sam Darnold for that second team spot. Now, again, right now it looks like Baker Mayfield is the far and away starter, even though Ron Rivera has said that it's going to be. Why did I say Ron Rivera? That would be weird. We're talking about your Commanders, and my mind went to Rivera.
Well, he was the Panthers
Matt
coach.
Rule. Yeah, he was. There what it was at the time. Matt Rule has said that it is an open quarterback competition, but it looks like Baker Mayfield is going to be the guy. But Matt Corral, Patrick, Matt Corral is the guy that I really liked coming out of Mississippi. Now, that offense you talked about down there in Oxford with Lane Kiffin was not the best replica of an NFL offense, but I like the intangibles that Matt Corral brings to the Panthers, and I'm kind of okay with this move if they want to go ahead and promote him and figure out what the heck to do with Sam Darnold after the preseason.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't matter who the backup is at all. But as far as Matt Corral, he has everything that's going to flash to people that don't know what's going on, which is, if we were out there watching, we would just look at them throw the ball and say, man, look at Matt Corral go. He's pretty athletic. Oh, he throws the ball pretty well. Look, he's probably got the strongest arm of any of those guys. And then you watch the videos of him scrambling around and dropping it in a bucket, the hell those nets around. And there were a couple of videos that went viral of him tossing balls and nets a couple times, which it looks impressive, but also that's not what anyone was concerned about with Matt Corral. We all know he's got a really strong arm. Everybody that got drafted this year, those 5 quarterbacks all have strong arms. So that wasn't really in doubt. It's just the actual playing of the position, being able to pick up an NFL offense when you come from the most collegey of college offenses, which Lane Kiffin had. Really not having to think ever on the field, just everything's kind of determined and easy reads. So can he run the Carolina Panthers offense? Maybe. I have no idea. We'll see in preseason, and he'll have opportunities to prove that he's capable of doing that. But the ability to throw the football is not in question. And when there's just a bunch of reporters standing on the sideline watching all 3 quarterbacks run around and throw the football uncontested and not even 2 receivers for most of the time, I'm not surprised at all that the reports are coming in that Matt Corral looks the best.
It's interesting just because, I don't know what the Baker Mayfield experiment necessarily ends up being, but I did like Matt Corral, and I would assume that regardless of what happens with Darnold and with Mayfield, that Matt Corral will continue to be on that roster after this past season. Now, does that mean he's competing with, say, another high draft pick next offseason, or does that mean he's serving strictly as Baker Mayfield's backup? Patrick, I think we both agree that this is it for Sam Darnold on the Panthers roster, that next year he'll be somebody else's backup somewhere or competing for a starting job on a very low-level team. But to me, it is having the development of Matt Corral, and whether or not, you're right, that's a good point. You'll get a chance to see him a good bit coming up here. The Panthers will open their preseason on Saturday, August the 13th, when they travel to your Commanders to take on that coach that I just mentioned, Ron Rivera. But the bottom line, I like hearing the development of Matt Corral. Now, whether or not he can push Baker Mayfield, or, this is a developmental year, and maybe in the future he can push, whether it's Mayfield or somebody else, I think that's good news for the Panthers.
Yeah, and if you're a Panthers fan, I don't know why you wouldn't want to see Matt Corral. Because at this point, if I was betting, if you put the over-under on how many quarterbacks in this quarterback room are back on the team next year, you'd say 1.5 would be the line, and I would be split evenly between the two. Like if Matt Rule gets fired, there's very, very good chance that happens. Baker's probably not being brought back by a new coach. You're not going to re-sign Baker Mayfield to a long extension. Darnold obviously is done. His time's over. Matt Corral is probably the only one that's going to be on the roster next year if Rule gets fired. So if there's any chance that he could potentially be your starter down the road, unless you want to just go back and trade up and try to get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or whoever next year, I'd want to see him. If I was a Panthers fan, that's all I'd care about right now. Just show me the young guy. I wouldn't have wanted the Baker trade in the first place.
We'll continue to talk about that. We'll get back into football recruiting. Speaking of the young guys, South Carolina, 4 commitments over the weekend, including 2 monster in-state commitments. Coming up at 8 a.m., we will catch up with Dustin Curtis, the head football coach at Dorman High School, or Dorman University up in the upstate, where Marky Anderson has made his decision to attend the University of South Carolina. We'll catch up with him. We'll also talk some recruiting and some other things going on. It's Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game, 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia.
A Cumulus media station.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust is the right way.
Did you know State Credit Union now offers the same services big banks offer? Services like online account opening, online loan applications, mobile banking, remote check deposit, person-to-person transfers, electronic signatures, and more. All with better interest rates and lower fees than the big banks. Check them out today and see why over 400 people per month are joining State Credit Union. Visit them online at scscu.com. That's scscu.com. Equal housing lender, federally insured by the NCUA.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels.
Jen, when we have time, it looks like I've only got 2 zero-res scripts, just a 15 and a 30. And I just need to get those in and I guess get them back to Jeff, or maybe Jeff and Josh. I don't know if Josh is back. But it looks like I just, instead of having a whole bunch of them to cut, it looks like we just have a 30 and one 30 and 115.
All right. Do you want to do those now?
Yeah, if you want to try.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say go? All right, in 3. Let's see. This will be the 30. It's called Carpet 30. In 3, 2, 1. It's officially time to clean up the mess summer has left your home, especially your carpets, with over 3, 2, 1. It's officially time to clean up the mess summer has left on your home, especially your carpets. With over 1,800 Google reviews and a 4.9 star rating, Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is the most highly reviewed cleaning company in the Midlands. Their patented no residue cleaning system gets your carpets, rugs, and upholstery insanely clean. Take advantage of their back to school sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZerorezColumbia.com. Yeah, August Carpet 15 in 3, 2, 1. Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, the most trusted or reviewed company in town. Take advantage of their back to school sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZerorezColumbia.com. Okay.
Yeah. You, your ego, and your second ego.
I mean, that would be a great party. That would be so much fun. Those are the people that I love the most.
Because I love me some me.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
I love me some me. I can't stand myself.
107.5.
Let me finish, Bill.
The Game.
7 a.m. on your Monday morning, August the 1st. As we get up, get going again. The week of football finally here. You got a NFL Hall of Fame game that you can get a little fired up about, at least watch a little bit of on Thursday night. The Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Los Angeles Raiders. Never going to get that one right, Patrick. I'm never going to become accustomed to them being the Oakland, or I can't even get it. I can't even the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. Is that going to be the one in sports that we just never get right, that it's the Las Vegas Raiders? Is there, when you have teams moving around, I still occasionally want to say San Diego Chargers, not Los Angeles Chargers. To me, even to me, because of my age and growing up watching, it's kind of the St. Louis Rams and not the Los Angeles Rams, but St. Louis is where I saw Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce and really Marshall Faulk and that whole group take off, not out in Los Angeles. But is there any of them that confuse you a little bit still?
No, Vegas is definitely the most confusing because they were the LA Raiders and the Oakland Raiders, and Oakland, you just naturally say. San Diego is the next hardest because you don't think of them as LA's team necessarily, and they didn't move very far. But the Rams have like completely rebranded, and they are LA's team now, and they've got a Super Bowl. So you've seen LA Rams enough. Plus, they used to also be the Los Angeles Rams back in the day. So that one you can pick up on pretty quickly. But Vegas is just so new, and you forget sometimes that there is an NFL team in Las Vegas, and that one's very difficult. Maybe it would require going to a game in Las Vegas and like being there and being like, yeah, this is a Las Vegas football team. But no, I'm always going to want to say Oakland. Oakland Raiders sounds better than Las Vegas Raiders too.
Oakland Raiders, just, you're right. It does. It sounds the way an NFL franchise should sound, and a lot of history there, but certainly. So you get the Las Vegas Raiders, and you get the Jacksonville Jaguars on Thursday night. That'll really get our football season going. College football will get going this weekend with South Carolina opening their fall camp on Friday. Players will report Thursday. Shane Beamer will have a press conference down at the stadium, and we'll be off and running on that. Over the weekend, big recruiting weekend for South Carolina. It got a little off kilter a little bit because we expected South Carolina to have 4 commitments over the weekend. 4 4-stars, Patrick, is what going in on Friday morning we kind of thought. We thought it would be Marquis Anderson would be the big name. We thought it would be Montique Rames out of Sumter, the 6'6", 245-pound defensive end. Both of those do commit. South Carolina lands 2 big in-state prospects on the offensive and defensive line. We'll talk about that in just a second. But we also thought it would be out-of-state prospects. Big Tree Babalati. I have zero clue how to say his name, and I'm just going with that. Are you good with this? When Sounds I say good. Big Tree. Oh yeah, are we good enough? Okay, good. Thank goodness, because that gives a. But Big Tree out of Maryland and Carmelo Taylor, a 4-star wide receiver out of Virginia. We thought that he would be the 2 guys that make commits. Both end up pushing their commitments back, and so it ends up being South Carolina got going on Friday night with a 2014 defensive back, Carson Hobbs, out of Ohio, makes his announcement for South Carolina. He becomes the 2nd commitment in the 2024 class, joining Dante Reno, 6'1", 180-pound defensive back, again from Moeller High School there in Ohio. Good pickup for South Carolina. Obviously, long way to go. Still's got to play his junior season and his senior season. And then South Carolina picks up an offensive lineman, Jatarius Shivers, out of Villa Rocco, Georgia. By the way, do you know where Villa Rica, Georgia is? This may throw you off a little bit. A one-time South Carolina recruit commitment years ago was from that same high school, and last year made a name for himself. Unfortunately, he made it with Bishop Sycamore last year. You want to guess who that player was?
What? A player? Is he now the coach of Bishop Sycamore?
Mikos Todd is who I'm looking for here. Mikos Todd. You remember, does that name ring a bell? He was also from Villa Rica, Georgia, a couple years ago, had committed to South Carolina, and magically popped back up at Bishop Sycamore last year.
Interesting. Wait, last year?
Yeah. Wasn't it last year that Bishop Sycamore was all the rage?
I don't know. Wait, so where is he now?
Oh, who knows? I don't. If you're at Bishop Sycamore, that might have been the end of your football career.
Yeah, it looks like it was.
Yeah.
I don't think he ended up playing college football.
Well, no, because if you were at Bishop Sycamore,
I guess.
you.
Well, some of them got tricked. Weren't there actually good players on Bishop Sycamore? Like a couple random ones that just got tricked?
I think there was decent players. I don't know when you say good. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think you're right. Some of them did actually get tricked. So, yeah, but Mikos Todd, a one-time South Carolina running back commitment, years ago. I don't even remember how long ago, but yeah, he was from there and ended up obviously at Bishop Sycamore. But again, South Carolina picks up a player from Villa Rica, Georgia, Jatavius Shivers, 6'7", 300 pounds. He had picked up offers in recent weeks from Auburn and Michigan. He was a one-time Vanderbilt commitment, but he is the third commitment of the weekend. He announced his pledge yesterday. He actually was a welcome home from July the 11th, Patrick. So we're having to do that thing where we have to go back and date these guys to their welcome home status. But Jatavius Shivers, a 6'7", 295-pound offensive tackle, again, chooses South Carolina over Auburn and Michigan over the weekend to go along with offensive lineman Marquis Anderson, who is now the highest-rated player in the class of 2023 for the Gamecocks. That gives them now 4 offensive linemen in this class, junior college offensive lineman Isaiah Jatta, and also offensive guard Trevon Ball, also as part of the offensive line class for Greg Atkins and Shane Beamer. And the Gamecock class, as you mentioned, number 22 now on the 24/7 Sports rankings, Patrick. And there are other guys. You've got to continue to land some playmakers. Xavier McLeod, the defensive lineman out of Camden. The guys we mentioned, 4-star Carmelo Taylor and Big Tree Babalade, 2 guys that certainly are 2 more 4-stars that are out there. And yes, the other big recruiting news from the weekend, Nichols Harbor, the 5-star athlete, 6'5", 225 pounds, could play tight end, could play rush in, could play linebacker, basically wherever he wants to, did make the visit to South Carolina for the Friday night cookout and hung around. Don't think I've seen any interviews with him. Don't know how many interviews he actually does, but one of the top 10 players in the class of 2023 stopping by South Carolina's campus on Friday night as well.
Yeah, these are, I mean, you just mentioned a bunch of them. Those are the guys you need to land. You need to get better on the lines because right now you feel really good about this current South Carolina team at all the skill positions. Like wide receiver, tight end, running back, we've talked about it. You feel like you're good there, and you've recruited fairly well there. I mean, obviously you've struck out on a couple, but you've gotten some highly rated receivers, and there's a bunch of defensive backsmen in this class. This is what fans, I think, want to see. Start getting linemen. Start securing the offensive lines in the trenches because that's where you feel like there's a gap between South Carolina and teams like Georgia there, and even Kentucky. Kentucky's very physical and strong on both lines of scrimmage, and that's what South Carolina needs to get better at. So you start seeing when your best commit is offensive lineman, you like that. You like the idea of Marquis Anderson and Trevon Ball both being bigger, already 300-pound interior offensive lineman prospects, and then you get a Jatavius Shivers who's for sure going to play tackle because he's 6'7", so that's just you're built like a tackle, not 300 pounds yet, so he's like fairly slightly built for a high school offensive lineman. He's going to have to put on a bunch of weight, so you're not expecting him to commit or to contribute year one like a lot of these guys we've mentioned, but they have the tools and you're building for the future, and hopefully you'll be able to just have a run of consistent line play. That's kind of been the biggest deal for South Carolina the last couple of years. They put a wide receiver in the draft for the last 3 years. So as much as we like seeing wide receivers commit and saying, wow, we're going to be a high-powered offense, you got to be better on both lines of scrimmage, and that's what South Carolina is doing right now, and that's what they need to continue to do for sure.
Yeah, and you're right. That's now 2 4-star offensive linemen in this particular class in Anderson, and now, as you mentioned, Trevon Ball, who's 6'4", 315 out of Pace Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. Again, you got to continue. You're right. You're exactly right. South Carolina, I think, excuse me, Patrick. I think one thing with the advent of the way the transfer portal is, you can go out and find guys, Corey Ruckers, Juice Wells in the transfer portal. Yeah, you'd love to land the elite skill position guys, the big time wide receivers, the guys like Jaden Greathouse or last year Antonio Williams or whomever it may be. But it is easier to go to the transfer portal, I think, and find those wide receivers and running backs and just integrate them into the system. They show up. It's not, it's learning some terminology. It's learning some route running or blocking if you're the running back. But by and large, that's easier, I think, to go and find in the transfer portal. But getting offensive linemen to come in, I think that's going to be a lot more difficult. And you're right. I think you've got to continue to build your roster on the lines of scrimmage, specifically those positions, through recruiting, having guys that go through your strength and conditioning program, that come up, that understand the system and are ready to go when their name is called.
Yeah, and really, I mean, that's why Marquis Anderson's such a big land, because you never really see offensive linemen transferring now. I don't understand it. We've talked about it a bunch, and I don't think anyone has the sole reason for why that's the case. But, I mean, we're even seeing pass rushers transferring, guys that feel like their roster spot is guaranteed when they transfer, which is why a lot of wide receivers are doing it. And there's going to be, I mean, we can name wide receivers all over the country that are transferring. I mean, some of the bigger ones that even South Carolina didn't land, like the Jacob Cowing is going to be the number one receiver at Arizona. That is always going to be there, I think, because the quarterbacks are going to be recruiting wide receivers and this and that. But something about why the offensive line position is just harder to transfer, or they see less of a reason to transfer, or maybe it's just injuries, and you feel like even if you're not starting, you're going to get plenty of playing time either way. I don't know exactly what it is, but the offensive line is really where you need to build through recruiting. And South Carolina has gotten a good start on this class. If they can get the tree as well, then they'll be in really good shape, and you'll feel pretty good about stacking two classes on top of each other with some legitimate offensive line prospects that you feel like can be good, really good starters in this conference.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in if you want to choose to do so this morning. Day weighing in on our text line said Tree makes 5. We hosted another JUCO offensive tackle over the weekend as well. That can make 6. Put those two in and maybe the best O-line class ever. I wouldn't go too far on that just yet, but certainly South Carolina does need to replenish the offensive line, Patrick. They could very well, again, this gets a little hazy when you talk about the COVID year and who has an extra year and where all the numbers actually fit. But South Carolina conceivably could lose as many as 6 offensive linemen to graduation this coming season. That tells you all you need to know about having to restock the offensive line. The Gamecocks took just 3 offensive linemen last year. But, Patrick, they do need to fill up on offensive linemen. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them take 6, potentially even 7 offensive linemen in this particular recruiting class, given that, again, as you look at it, Jalen Nichols is considered a senior. Javon Gwynn is a redshirt senior, so I'm pretty sure he is actually out of eligibility at the end of this coming season. And then you've got other guys like Hank Manos and Wyatt Campbell, who are both redshirt seniors. I believe they're out of eligibility. Eric Douglas is a 6th-year guy. So you get the point. And I think Dylan Wanham is, again, I don't know where Dylan Wanham is exactly. He's listed on the depth chart on the roster as a 5th-year player. Doesn't even tell me a sophomore or junior or senior, just says 5th year. So you get an idea there. The experience there could be a lot of attrition on the offensive line. So yeah, you expect to see South Carolina have to take several, as many as 6, maybe even 7 offensive linemen in this particular class. We'll continue talking about this. We'll get back into that Deebo Samuel contract. Coming up in about 45 minutes at 8 o'clock, Dustin Curtis, head football coach at Dorman High School in the Upstate. Head football coach for one, Marquis Anderson, will join us to talk about Marquis Anderson, what the Gamecocks are getting. Again, we'll get into that Deebo Samuel contract. 3 years, $73.5 million extension with the 49ers. Talk a little NFL this morning. We do need to get into that NASCAR stuff. What happens when you use a road, a sideway, an access road that's not actually part of the track? And why NASCAR apparently frowns on that. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Monday edition of the Extra Point, it is football season. This is now every week from here on out until the end of the year is going to have some kind of football. South Carolina practice Friday, Hall of Fame game. Who cares? It's football season, and as part of our festivities, really happy to be announcing officially the start of the Gamecock Central Hour here on 107.5 The Game. Wes Mitchell will be with me for the entire 11 o'clock hour, talking football, recruiting, a whole lot more, all coming up on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson Preston and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
getting out and purchasing a vehicle, especially this time of year because the kids are going back to school, or maybe you're thinking about a new tailgating vehicle, it should be a fun experience. It shouldn't be that stressful. I mean, there is a level of stress that's going to be involved anytime you spend a lot of money, anytime you have to make a big family purchase, but purchasing a brand new vehicle should be fun. The kids enjoy the experience. They get that new car smell. And at Love Chevrolet, that's exactly what they do for you and your family. They make it a fun, exciting experience, something you're going to remember. I still remember going and purchasing a car with my father. He bought a new SUV back when I was 10 or 11. And I remember it being a fun experience, something really exciting. At that time, of course, I didn't understand how much money he was spending. I just remember it being a neat experience. And at Love Chevrolet, that's exactly what they do. They make it a great experience. Of course, they've got the best deal in town, the $1,000 low price guarantee, where you can take other dealerships' deals back to the folks that Love Chevrolet and they'll top it. And of course, they've got the largest selection of vehicles anywhere in the Midlands, 14 acres of brand new Chevys to choose from. But it's the way they treat you, the way they treat your family. From the second you come on the lot looking for that brand new car, truck, or SUV to the minute you drive off excited about that new purchase, Love Chevrolet makes sure the customer is what's important. That's why they've been in business for over 60 years, and they continue to take care of Midlands families. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. When you go to purchase a new vehicle, again, you want it to be a neat, fun, happy experience. You don't want it to be stressful. You don't want to worry about if you're getting ripped off. And at Love Chevrolet, they make sure to answer all your questions. Experienced sales staff. That's who's out there ready to help you. Go visit them and find out for yourself. Again, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. You can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
We have a report of an incident Sunset Boulevard at Cromer Road. Again, that's Sunset Boulevard at Cromer Road. In the forecast for today, partly cloudy, hot and humid. Chance for a stray afternoon shower or thunderstorm. High of 96, but heat index looking like more of 102. And much of the same tomorrow for sure. Right now, though, we're starting off a little bit cooler than usual. 72 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. After taking bronze in the mixed relay, Allison Felix thought she was retired. Having returned to Los Angeles, the storied hurdler was enjoying hot wings at a root beer float when she was asked to fly back to Oregon to run a leg of the women's 4x400 hurdles prelims. Now Felix has another gold. That would be her 20th World Championship medal. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio. Hey, Jim! Thanks for coming.
Are you kidding? I never miss one of your dinner parties. How's the new job?
Somehow we're doing great. And I stopped working weekends, thanks to how smooth everything runs on NetSuite by Oracle.
Fantastic. We're still using QuickBooks.
Why haven't you upgraded to NetSuite?
We're making QuickBooks work, sort of.
Shh, watch your language. The kids are right there. Sorry, Amy. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow, all in one place. And 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control since upgrading from QuickBooks to NetSuite.
Yeah, sounds like it's time for me to switch to NetSuite. Over 31,000 businesses already use NetSuite. And for...
All right. There we go. Get us through here. Let's see. It's morning's rolling right along. Yep, Ric Flair last night. I didn't see. Did Flair win? I'm guessing he won. I'm guessing he pinned somebody, some poor dude. Who did he even wrestle? It was a big wrestling weekend in Nashville, Patrick. I didn't realize it was such a big. Nashville was the epicenter of wrestling this weekend.
I mean, SummerSlam's like their main event.
Yeah. It was on Peacock, and I got Peacock, but I didn't watch it. I did see apparently they had a tractor that came and messed with the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, Brock Lesnar broke the ring with a tractor.
Excellent.
I think Roman Reigns still beat him though.
Well, I don't know who. I just saw the video and I went, but I know it was Roman Reigns. Did you see the video? I guess it was Brock Lesnar or whoever was on top of the tractor, and they threw the microphone at him, and he just like effortlessly called it. Did you see that part?
Yeah, he's an athlete. He played D-end at Georgia Tech.
Roman Reigns. Yeah. Actually, it was pretty insane how he had basically no problem whatsoever. But it was like the most effortless catch I've ever seen. Roman Reigns catching the microphone this weekend. You didn't see it. No. You were all over the internet and you didn't see it?
I saw Brock Lesnar on the ladder after she lifted up there.
My goodness.
I just think it's kind of funny how Julio Jones joins the man who ended his Super Bowl night.
Oh, you think that was funny that Julio Jones joined Tom Brady? Yeah. He wants to win a Super Bowl. What's wrong with that?
I wonder how many bags of Doritos it took to get him to win, or how many bags of Doritos he asked that he gave them so he could join.
Don't know. Yeah, hope you missed Gamecock Larry. Popped on earlier. And we got to get y'all
20 win seasons as Carolina had arrived as a big-time basketball power. And that's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market, with 3 locations, Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irma.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios, this is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Barrett, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
The early game, 107.5
The Game.
$73.5 million, Patrick Deebo Samuel paid yesterday by the San Francisco 49ers as the hold-in is now officially over. He will start practice today, $58.1 million in guarantees, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Samuel is the 7th wideout this offseason, Patrick. 7th wideout this offseason to sign a deal worth at least $24 million. Before this season, only DeAndre Hopkins had hit that mark. Kind of interesting to see the marketplace for wide receivers nowadays. You're an NFL guy. You follow it. You understand the financial aspect of it. What do you make of so many wide receivers these days being able to sign these fairly lucrative contracts?
Well, we've always kind of the traditional look at football was that quarterback's most important, and then your left tackles and pass rushers are the next most important. But in this new analytically driven era, they're saying that wide receiver is the second most valuable position in football. Having a dominant number one wide receiver who can get open, who can make plays, no matter who's guarding him, and any defense, anytime, that is the second most valuable position in football. So now they're starting to get paid like it. It's a passing league, and you got to have one of those guys. So now I think there's 11. I think the number was 11 wide receivers making over $20 million a year at this point. And you've got Tyreek Hill and Devonta Adams almost at 30. There's some ridiculous money being thrown around right now, but that is the modern era of football. And if you've got a number one wide receiver, you pretty much got to pay him if you want to keep him. And like the Titans chose not to, and we'll see how it works out. The Steelers are in that situation with Deontay Johnson right now. They've already told him they're not going to pay him $20 million a year, but they just drafted George Pickens, and they're going to try and reload through the draft year in and year out, which is really hard to do, but they've done a good job with it. So, I mean, we're going to see. We've talked about for years the quarterback contracts, and if you pay your quarterback $40 million, are you able to build a competent roster around him enough to win a Super Bowl? We haven't really seen it yet, And now we're going to see how this wide receiver experiment works out. When you're committing $30 to $40 million to a quarterback, and then you're also paying $20+ million to a wide receiver, is that just too much for two positions, or is that ever going to be sustainable? It wasn't in Green Bay. They had to get rid of Devontae Adams. We'll see what's going to happen in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson. He's sort of the next guy up that's going to command a market controlling contract, and he probably does not want to be in Minnesota. So it's going to be interesting to see if this continues. If these start working out and everyone realizes, you just can't win without your number one wide receiver, then we're going to see a lot more of these contracts being given out.
Are you, when you to go back to something you just said that I think is interesting? You said, and I'll let you rephrase it, that the general feeling is that the number one wide receiver is the second most important position in football. Is that related strictly to, you think, NFL, or do you think that that's across the board? Because it is interesting. South Carolina has had good wide receivers in the last few years, and I'll tie it back in with the Gamecocks. You've seen Brian Edwards, or you've seen Deebo Samuel, then Brian Edwards, then Shi Smith, and last year Josh Vann even stepped up. Now South Carolina's got Corey Rucker and Juice Wells. Josh Vann is there as well. So you got the three wide receivers, not counting Jaheim Bell and Austin Stogner. I don't know if that wide receiver theory translates back to the college game as much as it does to the NFL game.
I don't think it does either. I think it kind of, the physically imposing players are more valuable the lower the level you go. Like that's when I say the wide receiver is next most valuable, like that's what companies like PFF would say. Right. And they trace back sort of like the high school running back, the dominant 5-star high school running back is usually the most valuable player on the field because you can just hand it to him and he'll just make a bunch of guys miss because he's about the best athlete on the field, and then he'll score a touchdown. And then you'll see college running backs be super dominant and they can win Heisman trophies and then go to the NFL and they're good, but they're not single-handedly winning games. I mean, it's been a while since we've single-handedly seen a running back win a game. Derrick Henry is the only one that really comes to mind, dating back to, I guess, Adrian Peterson. But just once everybody else becomes as good of athletes as each other on the field, when you're not running against linebackers who you can just beat in a foot race or just carry on your back or spin away or whatever, it just changes the calculus a little bit. So I think the wide receiver becomes more valuable in the NFL or rather than college just because of that. And then there's also quarterbacks that aren't as good delivering the football. So we see lots of wide receivers that were not that effective in college become much better in the NFL too.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on that this morning. Deebo Samuel, again, that contract. And I think, Patrick, the best part about the Deebo Samuel contract for he is as long as he can stay healthy. And it'll be interesting now that they've paid him. They showed him the money, as someone on our text line said. But they've kind of got him where they're like, all right, we gave you the money, but now we're going to utilize you however we want to utilize you. We're going to use you as a running back sometimes on jet sweeps out of the backfield. Can he stay healthy? Because I think the great thing about this contract, keeping it to just 3 years, it might not be the mega deal at 29 years of age, but he is in line to get another really good contract when he's 29 years old and make even more money.
It's good for both sides in the sense that this now incentivizes the 49ers to keep him healthy. So if Deebo's argument was, hey, you guys are just using me however you want to use me, using me as a running back because it doesn't matter because I'm on a rookie contract, I can get hurt and it won't really matter. If they do that now, you're doing that for a $20+ million a year player. If you don't feel like that is the most effective way or safest way of using him, and you want to dial it back because you want to keep him healthy, well, you're just proving his point, and now it's incentivized the 49ers to do exactly that. So they need him to stay healthy for 17 games and more if they make the playoffs, and they need it for the next 3 years because they are fully committed to him. So I think Deebo has got to feel really good about, okay, if you want to use me as a running back, that's fine. If I get hurt doing this, I'm doing what you asked. But if I get hurt, then you're going to pay me wide receiver one money to not play, and you've dug your own grave at that point. So if a couple years down the road, Deebo's hampered with injuries, and this has become a big problem because Kyle Shanahan has overused him as a running back, then that's just going to be their own fault, and that's just going to be the way it is. So hopefully for both cases, they can keep doing this because also Deebo's schemed runs, he's still not getting tackled as much as a running back. Like he's getting the ball going side to side a lot, and he's having opportunities to either score a touchdown, which he did on an incredible rate of his touches, or just get to the sideline and get down. So he's not taking normal, like, up the gut running back carries like a Jonathan Taylor or somebody like that might time after time, but hopefully the 49ers will not make him do as much of that.
One other news note from today, it is expected that Sue Robinson, the disciplinary officer who is jointly appointed by the NFL and the Players Union, is expected to issue a decision on Deshaun Watson and whether he violated the league's personal conduct policy, of course, following accusations of sexual misconduct. Patrick, that will come down. It is expected to come down today. I believe that it will. We'll see how it plays out for Deshaun Watson. Just expectations, 4, 6 games, 10 games? Where do you see this going later today?
Apparently, if it's a full season, they've already announced, Deshaun Watson's game's already announced that they're going to appeal it and sue the league. So I don't know what is going to be satisfactory to anybody at this point. If it's 4 games, people are going to be upset that it's not enough. If it's 10 games, people still might be upset that it's not enough. If it's a full season, Deshaun Watson's going to be suing the league, and the league doesn't want to go through this anymore. They want it to be put to bed as soon as the announcement is made. I guess my expectation would be somewhere in the realm of 6 games, but nothing's going to surprise me at this point. It's been such a ridiculous story. It's clearly not over. So yeah, I guess if I was putting a number, I'll guess like 6.
We'll continue to monitor that. Certainly be something we talk a little bit about tomorrow. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Perrette. It's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007. Spider-Man 3 was number 1 at the box office.
Your pictures are fake. Parker, you are such a Boy Scout. You want forgiveness? Give religion. What's going on here?
Irreplaceable was the number 1 song.
Don't you ever for a second get to thinking irreplaceable.
And on November 12th, 2007, 107.5 The Game went on the air.
And now, batting leadoff, it's time for the halftime show. Jay Phillips, Michael Haney, and Deuce Staley on 107.5 The Game. The game is on.
And now we're going to celebrate our 15th anniversary with you, because without you, there is no us. Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner. Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
And we have now entered the month of August. That means 26 days until college football kicks off. Only 33 days till the Gamecocks kick off. That means 33 days for you to soak up the last of this summer, get out there, play some golf, whatever you want to do on the weekends when South Carolina is not playing football. If that is the case, you want to get out there and play golf, go swimming, run around in the yard. You need to be healthy. You need to make sure the joints are feeling good, and you need to check out Prisma Health Orthopedics so that you can feel your best for the last of the summer months. Prisma Health Orthopedics is the official team physician for the South Carolina Gamecocks and Clemson Tigers, so they will give you and your family the same care provided to the top athletes in the state. They're also the most comprehensive orthopedic group in the region. They have 65 specialists across 6 locations to serve you wherever you may be. So if hip and knee pain is making your daily life difficult, you need to seek the best care and find out just how much this joint pain is affecting your quality of life by taking a free health assessment. Prisma is the region's most trusted orthopedic practice with a deep-rooted history spanning nearly a century, and they are leaders in innovative procedures and teaching the next generation of orthopedic physicians. They offer a full-service walk-in orthopedic urgent care clinic for all sports injuries, strains, sprains, fractures, as well as chronic joint pain. They know how much hip and knee pain can make your daily life difficult. So again, get out there and take that free health assessment to see what they can do for you today. Prisma has built a foundation for patient-centered care and innovation, resulting in the best possible services for their patients. So go out there, visit them online, get that free health assessment, and find them at prismahealth.org/orthopedics.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And it looks like still working a little bit of an accident in Lexington. Highway 378 at Cromer Road. Your forecast is going to be hot and humid. Looking for a high today. Well, the heat index is going to be about 102. The high will be about 96. Could see that afternoon or evening shower or thunderstorm pop up. Much of the same for tomorrow. Hot and humid, isolated afternoon shower or storm. High of 96, index of 102. We're up to 74 right now. 107.5 The Game.
I'm here with Jacob Crowder, known to our listeners as the mortgage guru. We're all hearing about mortgage rates right now. Jacob, what's the market?
Yeah, Deuce was a good guy. All right, Jen, we'll play that coming back.
I'm sorry, say what?
So we'll play that coming back.
Just trying to help find something.
Yeah. I was exhausted yesterday. I tell you what, I went outside. I thought I was fine. And I was kind of messing around. I went and took the cover off the boat and was kind of walking around. And I don't know if I got like overheated or what. But man, I got the shakes real bad. Like I was done for the day. That was at like 1 o'clock. I don't know if I'm still just weak or what, but
Could be. Did you see? You probably didn't see post race, but AJ Allmendinger, he had won the Xfinity race at Indy, and how sick he got because his cooling suit wasn't working. He was out of water.
yeah. His wife. I saw his wife put something out late last night about he was okay. Yeah, he was like hunched over the little the wall or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty bad yesterday, so I actually laid in bed and watched the entire race. So I was pretty in tune with everything going on.
So that's awfully impressive, I must say.
But yeah, that was kind of crazy to see him. I saw him shaking his water bottle in there, and they were talking about the cooling suit. And if it's not working, it's like wearing a bunch of trash bags, basically.
Oh yeah, yeah. Can you imagine? And that would be to me so. I'm trying to come up with the right word, but it would not be good for me to just get that like overheated and that constricted, you know.
Yeah.
Especially then when you're doing like pace laps, more, caution laps, so you're not going quite as fast.
Right.
So any additional airflow you might have been getting, you're just not claustrophobic. That was the word I was trying to come up with. Not just feeling like, oh my gosh, I got to get this suit off. I would have thought the first thing when he got out of the car is he'd have been like dropping that, but maybe he just felt so bad he couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
But that was concerning.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. Now it gets really hot in those cars. You think the track temps can be, 130 degrees or better, and
No, it was interesting because you had Blaney who was up there because Kerry had Blaney and I had Blaney. It was funny. I had Blaney in my my little pool for the money.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of pulling for Blaney, but it's like when he decided to just pit for gas and not tires, that took him out of the race.
Well, and then he ended up making his way back up, but then he got swept up in that nonsense.
Yeah, nobody could get around turn one.
No, it's a concern. We did a little bit, Travis. I'm up to 66. Of course, Reggie's at 85, but All right, head back in. You keep it kind of short. You're up.
Tyler Reddick takes home the checkered flag yesterday in NASCAR. They were up at the Brickyard, and really was an entertaining race. That's, as I was telling Jen on the live stream, that's the most I've ever watched NASCAR yesterday. I was a little under the weather and laid around and caught the whole race. I'm not going to sit here and, despite the character that I pretend to be at about 8:40 on Thursday mornings, I do not watch a great deal of NASCAR. But yesterday I did watch a lot, and that's an interesting course. Let's go with that. The first thing, I forget if we were talking about it on air or off air, but there is a golf course that's on the outside of the track. It's on the outside of the track, but I think about what, Jen, 3, 4, 5 holes, you actually cross into the infield.
Correct.
And there's like a pond that runs down the right side of one fairway. Looks like about a par 4. Patrick, it's the darndest thing I've ever seen, where Jen says she's going to play it in a few weeks. And apparently she'll cross into the Brickyard and be playing a few holes on the infield of the Brickyard. It was really a neat place. Now, Jen, one thing I don't understand from yesterday, why was the crowd so light? Is that just how it was? It looked like at times looking into the stands, it was a very light crowd.
Yeah, I think part of that is the in a road course, it's harder because there's so many different vantage points, but there were people around, but it was a busy racing weekend. So I was a little bit surprised because they had the IndyCar race and the Xfinity race on Saturday, and then they had the Cup race on Sunday. So I was a little bit surprised, but it is a newer concept too, to have the road course there. I still think there's some modifications that need to be done. I think that number one, turn one, boy, it's just a melee. I mean, nobody's given an inch. So you just have how many hard heads going into that turn, and it spins, bumps. It was terrible. Constantly.
Well, and Patrick, I doubt you've seen the highlights going into that turn one, and I still, granted, being the NASCAR guru I am, but this one kind of confused me a little bit. A wild wreck between Ty Dillon. Was it Ty Dillon? Am I right on that? And Kyle Larson. I'll have to go back and look.
Came around that turn one.
Kyle Larson lost control of his car and didn't have. I mean, he slammed into someone else doing about 150 miles per hour. It was a wild wreck, and thankfully everybody was perfectly okay in it. But it sounded like Kyle Larson lost the brakes on his car and had no way of slowing down late in the race, and absolutely slammed into another driver there late. I've got to go back and look and see exactly who it was, but I thought it was Ty Dillon, but I could be wrong. But it was again very interesting race. Man, race one yesterday, or turn one was where the excitement got, because as Jen just said, you had to go through it at a slower pace, and it ended up being really hard to navigate. So at the very end, Ross Chastain works his way around it by taking a auxiliary road, a secondary road that went straight. And then Patrick, if you can go back and you can find the video of it, it's a road that goes straight as opposed to taking a right turn. And then there's like a little side road, almost like a walkway, where he takes a right on and goes through a gate.
I saw the video and I thought that it was just the first lap and he just didn't know which way to go. Like he just had like a brain fart and was like, "Oh, I'm normally I just drive straight. I didn't realize we were turning here."
Yeah, and that's kind of what the question is. He has posed that question, and so what was he thinking?
Here is some audio from yesterday. Ross Chastain after the race explaining his idea on how to take out the first turn and stay involved in the race and nearly give himself a chance to win.
You were looking for a spot there at the end. What were you thinking?
What do you mean, where?
Taking the access road there and getting off course there.
Oh, just trying not to be in the carnage there in turn one. I thought we were 4 wide and couldn't go any farther right, and decided to take the NASCAR access lane out there.
Is that something you and the team had talked about earlier? It's like, that's a great option and it may not cost us anything?
No, Dave, no. Just pure reaction there. For our Worldwide Express Chevy, I took it in practice on just overshooting turn one, and where they're at, right? And 12, you have to go around the loop there, and there is around the poles. So just went to not get hit and merge back on where I merged.
I like it. It's a good strategy. Do what you got to do to get to the front of the pack. I don't care what it takes. Hey, there's an extra road and you can go that way.
I mean, there were so many people in the turn. I mean, why not just bypass it,
What was the punishment?
And he was dropped back to like 27th. I'm assuming that was probably the end of the lead cars, those who weren't a lap down. I suspect that's where he ended up.
It was. If you haven't seen the video, it is pretty entertaining because all the cars take a right to go, and then there goes Ross Chastain just zipping on through just goes straight, goes down. And the funniest thing was the little secondary road he takes. It's literally a gravelly little road with a fence there. Thankfully, they didn't have the fence closed on him. That would have made it a little bit more entertaining.
Excuse me, can I get through here?
Yeah. It was the way to do it. So Ryan Blaney was in contention as well. That was Kerry Tharp's pick. Thought Kerry was gonna find a way to win a race. Didn't actually do it. I had Chastain. Chastain not able to pull it out, and so nobody wins yesterday. Although I did have Tyler Reddick as one of my final two selections. Maybe that counts for something. We'll check with the commissioner of the league.
She says no.
On. Okay, apparently no. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Game Time.
Hey, it's Heath. On Monday, we are officially into August, and that means it is time for football. We will have the latest on what's going down with Gamecock recruiting after a busy weekend for them, and look ahead to the start of practice coming up at the end of the week. We'll see you at 3.
Game Time with Heath Klein.
3 to 6 p.m.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5
The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
We do have a report, easy for me to say. Object on the highway, I-20 eastbound, mile marker 76. The right lane is currently blocked. But aside from that, things not looking too bad out there for your Monday morning commute. Hot and humid, stray afternoon shower or storm today, a high of 96, but that heat index could creep up to 102. It is 74 right now at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Family Dollar. At Family Dollar, we've got more of what you want for back to school. Kickstart your day the right way with cereals from General Mills, Post, and Kellogg's. Fall back into fashion with a huge selection of apparel and footwear for the entire family. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Life matters. Queen Victoria was the last British monarch to ascend to the throne as a teenager. She was just 18 when she came to power in 1837, and her reign over England was the longest on record, 63 and a half years. Her youth gave her an opportunity to influence an empire in a way perhaps unparalleled in history. Reminds me of Josiah, king of Judah in Bible times. He came to power at age 8 and began to turn his nation back to the God they had forsaken. When his life was over, Scripture declared that there was never a king in Israel before or since who so intensely followed the Lord as did Josiah. We're never too young to make a difference, so don't wait.
No, I didn't win. I didn't even actually win. But it was neat to see Chastain have a chance there at the very end. Oh my goodness. I think it is supposed to be very warm today again.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
96.
oh boy. Yeah, it was very, very hot yesterday. So tired just thinking about it.
All right, what else do we have here?
Yeah, I didn't watch much of the Rocket Mortgage, Craig. Tony Finau, I didn't really get into it quite as much as I usually do. Oh, who is this? The Mariners and the Astros. Okay. First
Ted
pitch
back
of the
in.
game. Huh?
About Ted back in.
Okay.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by, shop
The early game.
Phil Gunther, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
On your home of the Gamecocks. The early game.
107.5 The Game.
Tell you what, we have got a lot going on. Football getting going Thursday night. We've got our 107.5 The Game golf tournament Friday, August the 26th. And I tell you what, Jen, right now, let's go ahead and give away a family 4-pack of tickets to tomorrow night's Columbia Fireflies game, 803-404-6100. You can win a family 4-pack of tickets, the Fireflies and the Charleston River Dogs. I believe that's a rivalry. You can get $2 Tuesdays, enjoy $2 hot dogs, popcorn, fountain sodas, and if you're of legal age, 12-ounce cans of Miller Lite. Legal age, important there on that one. So right now, 803-404-6100. Jen will take caller number 2. We'll take caller number 2, 803-404-6100. You can win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Fireflies and the Charleston River Dogs tomorrow night here in Columbia Segra Park, 7:05. It will be Thirsty Tuesday, or is that right, Patrick? I'm sorry.
Thirsty Tuesday.
Thursday Tuesday. I feel like that doesn't. That's because normally it's Thirsty Thursday. That's why it doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
But tomorrow night will be Thirsty Tuesday, if you would like. It's a summertime promotion there. So again, 803-404-6100. Caller number 2 right now for the family 4-pack of tickets to the Fireflies and the River Dogs tomorrow night over at Segra Park. 803-404-6100. Patrick, again, busy weekend across sports. We mentioned Deebo Samuel. We mentioned, obviously, South Carolina recruiting. And coming up in about 10 minutes, Dustin Curtis, head football coach at Dorman High School, will join us to discuss the commitment of Marquis Anderson to the University of South Carolina. One other unfortunate thing from the weekend, though, Bill Russell passes away yesterday at age 88. Russell, obviously, an incredible just athlete, a winner, a not just a NBA legend, but I think an overall sports legend. But it's hard for me a little bit at 40 years of age, and you're younger than me, to try and put in perspective who and what Bill Russell was as a basketball player, because we didn't see him, but he is one of, if not the greatest player of all time. He's up there. You start talking about different eras, but it is interesting. You're an NBA guy. You understand Bill Russell. Sad news yesterday to hear of his passing at 88 years of age.
Yeah, he started playing in 1956. His career was from 56 to 69. So, I mean, just decades before I would ever even know anything about basketball, well before the three-point line, all those things. So I cannot expound on him as a player or really like what he meant culturally at the time. I know York made the comment earlier that he was a civil rights legend. And, of course, at that time in the NBA, it was a totally different era. And you see what he meant to players today when you hear some of the older players, like when you hear Michael Jordan or Julius Erving or Charles Barkley or any of these guys that are just legends look with such reverence to Bill Russell, you know that it was very meaningful. So I was born in 95. So I was born like 30 years after he retired. So I cannot speak on it, but obviously a legend, 11 championships, like one of the greatest winners in sports history. And just obviously a legend and really sad.
11 NBA championships, but he also was a 2-time All-American, and he won 2 straight NCAA championships at the University of San Francisco, led the team to 55 consecutive wins. And on top of all that, Patrick, 11 NBA championships, 2 NCAA championships. He also won the gold medal at the 1956 Olympics. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver calling Russell the greatest champion in all of team sports yesterday in something that he put out. And again, he was a 5-time MVP and a 12-time All-Star. He revolutionized the NBA's defensive concepts, finished with 21,620 career rebounds, Patrick. Again, he was ahead of his time. It is what it is, but certainly goes down as one of the greatest, or if not the greatest NBA player of all time for how he changed the game, not just on the court, but as you mentioned, off the court.
Yeah. And I mean, this is where we sort of let other people speak on that. And obviously today it happened over the weekend. So today will be a lot of on all over sports talk, radio, and television. All that stuff will be people making their tributes to him. And certainly in Boston, he was a Celtics legend. And I've seen on Twitter videos of KG sitting down with him when he was still with the Celtics, and all sorts of moments where I think he still stayed pretty connected to the Celtics. There was some, I need to learn more. There was some tension between them for a little while, but he was obviously always very, very helpful to young players. And I think you've seen a lot of players over the last 30 years say that Bill Russell has reached out to them personally to talk to them, give them advice, or congratulate them on their successes and things like that. So always stayed involved. And you're one of those guys you will literally never hear anyone say anything bad about him.
So you had that yesterday. Unfortunate news, but a lifetime well-lived, 88 years old, Bill Russell passes away yesterday. Speaking of another lifetime well-lived, Ric Flair, 73 years old. I think he wrestled his final match last night in Nashville, Patrick. I don't know. He did his trademark strut, led the crowd in chanting "woo," and apparently got the pin at the very end there in front of 10,000 people there in Nashville. Maybe he's done with his career. Maybe he'll be back when he's 75.
I hope he's done with his career. I watched a little highlight of it. It was not high quality wrestling.
Yeah, it was 73 being not high quality wrestling. That's something to say. Also, happy birthday to Gamecock Larry, 88 years old today. He's already called in this morning. So plenty that we've discussed, plenty more we'll continue to discuss. Dustin Curtis, head football coach at Dorman High School, up next to talk about the commitment of Marquis Anderson. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia.
A Cumulus media station.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. Madison Gant just walked in. How you doing?
Doing great, Woody. How are you?
Good. Madison, I see your trucks everywhere for Pioneer Tree Service. Tell us some of the people you work with.
We've been very busy with residential and commercial customers.
So, Madison, you're doing the State House, Midlands Tech, City of Columbia, University of South Carolina. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service. And now there's a new little Gant girl, Dawson. We got all the Gant girls in the room.
We do tree removal, stump removal, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree thinning, tree cabling, and we will raise your tree canopy.
And no matter where you live, the Gant girls can get there. So, hey, Gant girls, how do they get in touch with you?
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253 or check us out online at Pioneer Tree SC.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code Summer Sale at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust, it's the right way to clean.
Did you know State Credit Union now offers the same services big banks offer? Services like online account opening, online loan applications, mobile banking, remote check deposit, person-to-person transfers, electronic signatures, and more. All with better interest rates and lower fees than the big banks. Check them out today and see why over 400 people per month are joining State Credit Union. Visit them online at scscu.com. That's scscu.com. Equal housing lender, federally insured by the NCUA.
Terry Ford, 107.5 The Game with our good friend Adam Vance from Sound and Images. His wardrobe is so fancy, he has his initials on his cufflinks.
That is true. And Terry, every time I come in here to be on radio, I dress my best for you and for the listening audience.
It's very important to look good for the radio audience, Adam Vance.
Yes, that's
very
what
important.
I found.
You do more at Sound and Images than just set up fancy sound and imaging for events. You guys also do a lot of stuff for businesses.
We are a commercial audiovisual installation company. And what does that mean? That means that we can come into your place of business. We can help you assess what you have, what you need, where you want to go. We're really big on video conferencing systems. BYOD, as they say, bring your own device, connect wirelessly, connect with ease without requiring a teenager, as we always joke about us Generation Xers.
And how does someone get a hold of Adam Vance at Sound and Images?
please go to soundandimages.net or call 803-791-3925.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy, I-26 in Harbison, and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
But we have a horse costume when we get in. I need somebody for the rear end. How about it, Bill? Come on over.
He's the rear end of the show every morning.
Patrick Perret.
There's a 0% chance that I will have a full wedding.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for your.
There's a 0% chance that will happen.
The future Mrs. Perret to put her foot down and
She can try. My feet are bigger.
And Jen Jensen.
William Byron referring to Joey Logano, Jen, as a moron and an idiot.
Yeah, standard.
Vocabulary straight out of the Jen Jensen playbook right there when not happy with how something ends.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
8:01 on a Monday morning, final hour of the Monday episode of the early game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perret, Jen Jensen, as we get you up and going. Coming up in just a few minutes, Dorman High School head coach Dustin Curtis will join us. Good buddy of mine who I've grown up with, and now the head coach at Dorman. He is head coach for one Marquis Anderson, who commits to South Carolina over the weekend, and South Carolina with a very good recruiting weekend, Patrick. They land Marquis Anderson yesterday, but they also landed two other 2023 prospects. One, another in-state prospect, Montique Rames, a 6'6", 245-pound defensive end, four-star prospect out of Sumter High School down in Sumter. This is a guy who, again, a lot of people expect to come in and be able to help the Gamecocks on the edge. And Patrick, we've talked about it. They're your in-state guys. You've got to land the in-state guys, Marquis Anderson and Montique Rames. According to 24/7 Sports, Marquis Anderson is the number 2 player in the state of South Carolina. Rames, the number 4 player in the state of South Carolina. And you look at the success that South Carolina had under Steve Spurrier. It started with in-state guys, and then they were able to branch out. But you've got to be able to keep the in-state guys home to build something early on, and that's exactly what Shane Beamer, Greg Atkins, Jimmy Lindsay, the defensive line coach, was able to do this weekend by landing Rames and Marquis Anderson.
It was just what the doctor ordered for two reasons. One, yes, in-state guys, you got to be able to get the best in-state players. And two, you need guys to play on the lines of scrimmage. And South Carolina did a good job early in the class getting some skill guys, some defensive backs. But this is where always in college football has separated the great programs, being able to dominate on the lines of scrimmage. So to get a couple guys that do that from the state of South Carolina is huge for them right now. It gives them up to 22nd nationally, a really good class going right now. And if you look at their average rating too, 88.7 is pretty high up there. Most of the teams up there until you get into the top 10 in the LSU, Miami range, who are putting together great classes right now. South Carolina's is very, very solid. So they'll have a great chance to jump up into the 20s and into the 15 range as well if they can just land a couple more.
Joining us now on our Love Chevy phone lines is good buddy and Dorman High School head coach Dustin Curtis, out and about this morning. And Coach Curtis, welcome in. Now, I think we've had you on when you were at Westwood. Now we get to have you on as Dorman University, because you and I were familiar with Dorman. You've played football in this state for Lexington. You've played for Jimmy Satterfield. You're familiar with Dorman, but now you get to be the head coach at one of the most prestigious high schools, the most prestigious football programs in the state. So welcome in this morning. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, Bill. Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them. Glad to be here. Guys like Marquis certainly make it fun. Jen and I were talking off air, and since we're talking about how great players help make your program more successful, we thought maybe it'd be appropriate for Patrick to take over this morning. You just maybe sit this one out.
You know where I get to be at this morning, buddy? In about an hour, I'm going to Saxagatha Church. You and I had a, speaking of that, I didn't feel like mentioning it, but you and I had a run-in one time at Saxagatha Church in a pickup basketball game, and if I remember correctly, you got a technical because you shoved me down like the meanie bully you are.
Oh, well, I mean, it probably wasn't a show. I think you weighed like $115 back then. So, however your brain remembers that moment, Bill, it's okay with me.
That's a lot of good times growing up. Dustin and I had playing sports against each other, and now a successful high school state football coach, has won a state championship, and now leading Dorman. And let's talk a little bit about your young offensive lineman there, Marquis Anderson. Obviously, it'll be your first year up at Dorman, but the first 8 months you've had a chance to get to know he and his family away from the field. What is South Carolina getting in Marquis Anderson?
I'm really glad that you started with that. Mainly because I think the great teams, not just talented teams, but the great teams are the ones where, your best players are also some of your best leaders and high character guys. And Marquis really, really is that. And there's no other way for me to shade it. That's who he is as a young man and as a human being. He's extremely positive. He's passed all my expectations just as far as the kind of kid that he is, just because you see him in the weight room and you see him in the hallways. He's always smiling. His teammates love being around him. He's infectious. And obviously, getting a chance to meet his family and, got to share a meal with them after the, commitment yesterday and all that. They are some awesome people. And, his dad and mom and siblings were a pleasure to be around yesterday. You could see the genuine excitement, around the whole family. And I'm really proud to have them in our program.
Seems like he's got a good sense of humor too. And obviously people took note of the type of commitment or the way he committed with the syrup choices. How long has that been planned? Did you hear about that a while back? Is he that kind of guy? Is he just a funny guy?
No, well, so apparently, his stepdad Lance, that's his guy, and they're extremely tight. And Marquis told me that he came up with it driving, I think, either down to or home from Pawleys Island. They were on vacation, and Dad just kind of popped into stepdad's head. He's a food guy. He's got a very, very delicious food truck, 365 grilling seafood and. I guess when you got food on your brain and football on your brain, those two came together really well, didn't they?
It did work out. Now I'm about to look up his food truck.
Do that. He says he's bringing it down for tailgating now, so you'll see me in line.
There you go. Dustin Curtis joining us this morning, Dorman head football coach and former state champion head football coach. And I know you plan to bring one up there to Dorman. And to do that, you need good players. And you've got two of them. You got DJ Geth, who is going to North Carolina. You've got Marquis Anderson. In your time, Dustin, and again, you played for the great Jimmy Satterfield. You've been around football in the state. You're very familiar and knowledgeable about what makes great football programs. Offensive linemen, guys like Marquis can just be more physical, can be bigger than some of the competition they go against. What makes him, though, a good football player? What makes him translate well to being able to go to the SEC?
I think the biggest thing that pops out on film is when you see guys his size that can run in the open field. And that's, to me, that makes such a huge difference in what you feel like you can accomplish with players, and especially up front. And you watch him and DJ Geth, and they're really not that dissimilar, to be honest. One might be a little bit more powerful than the other. The other might have a little bit more foot speed than the other, but athletically speaking, from an offensive line standpoint, I'm really proud of who they are. But they've also are both intelligent enough that they've got some God-given, talents and abilities and measurables that don't happen to everybody. And, when you got a chance to have this kind of offensive line up front, with some of the speed and skill players that we have, to go around those guys, you feel pretty good about your ability to score points if you play smart football and take care of the ball and do those little things. But, also as a head coach, this is, I don't know, I've been coaching since 2006. And when my first year at Spring Valley is the only other offensive line that in all my career compares to this one. And that was the year that Spring Valley sent Mason Cloyd to Clemson, Cal Fisher to Vanderbilt, and Quentin Richardson to South Carolina. And, you see how long it typically takes in between, time periods or seasons of having multiple guys, like that. It just doesn't happen very often. And we're, as offensive coaches, we're going to count our blessings every day that we got those two and don't have to prepare for them.
So from a former player or current player to a former player, last time we had you on was for Cam Smith, and obviously it's been a big offseason, a lot of buzz for him. Just talk for a second. Did you see this coming where he's being mocked in the first round to some people, and just a huge offseason and a lot of hype around him? And what kind of message would you send to him with going into a season with hype, really unlike he's experienced before?
Sure. I think different things happen in people's lives to create maturity and growth. And I do think that Cam went through some of those. And I'm really proud of him right now. Just hearing stories, talking with Coach Beamer about how he was when he got there to how he is now, and just kind of the changes that he's had emotionally and with his approach to the game, to the team. And when those things happen, you see the fruits of who he's become. And, really proud of him. I don't know that he's ever had trouble having confidence in himself. So I don't know that all the hype, is really going to faze him too much. To be honest with you, he's probably one of the most confident kids that I've ever been around. And so am I surprised at his success? No, I'm not. I always knew that it was in there. And if he tweaked the right buttons, the right direction, you knew that he could take off and he could be somebody. He's just got so much natural strength and length and instincts with the football. And he just does a great job of, diagnosing. And when you have his arm length and his foot speed, staying with people in man to man and being able to tackle in space and zone, it allows defenses to feel pretty confident no matter what kind of scheme they're trying to put him in, that he's kind of that new long sized corner that you feel like has the chance to tackle like a safety but cover like a corner. And that's what he's got physically, as long as he keeps doing what he's doing on the field mentally.
He's Dustin Curtis, head football coach at Dorman High School, first year up there. Obviously the head coach of one, Marquis Anderson, who commits to South Carolina yesterday in a ceremony up in Spartanburg. And Dustin, take us behind the scenes a little bit. You just mentioned Cam Smith. Will Muschamp obviously recruited him, and not only did Will Muschamp recruit him, but Cam Smith had offers from Kirby Smart and other elite programs around the country. What have you seen in Shane Beamer's time, only 2 years here, but that kind of stands out to you about how he and his staff are trying to connect with high school coaches and trying to keep kids here in the state of South Carolina, elite kids, to help grow this program? What are you seeing from Shane Beamer and his staff?
I think from the outside looking in, and, I'm a fan too. I'm a graduate. I went there just like you did, and worked in the football program off the scenes, off the field. And, being in coaching, it's not like I wouldn't call myself old, but I think you pick up on, and it's not just college, but everywhere you go, you pick up on guys who are comfortable with their identity and who they're trying to be and what kind of program, just from an environment standpoint, they want to have. And the guys that do that the best, no matter what their environment is, are the guys that don't fake it, right? The guys that genuinely, this is who they are, and that bleeds in to their assistants. They've surrounded themselves with assistants that feel the same way, and the kids start to pick up on those things. You saw that with Coach Sweeney. He was very, very different from more of a monotone, workman-like, Tommy Bowden when he took over. And it took a little while, but eventually his personality bled throughout the entire Clemson program. And you see what was accomplished, in my opinion, because of that. The wins started before he started pulling, just about any national recruit that he wanted. And I think Shane shares that mindset, good, bad, and different. He's not the same guy as a Kirby Smart or a Nick Saban, and he doesn't try to be. And he's, doing things very differently just from a culture standpoint than Will Muschamp. Again, Muschamp was more of a workman-like, personality, and that's kind of what he wanted people to see on the camera and behind the scenes. Like, that's just who he was. And, when Shane talks about love, I think he lives it. And I think the kids that visit, that I know of, that go there and see it, and they genuinely feel it. That's the thing is, do you talk about it, but then you walk the halls and it doesn't really feel that way? Or does the guy say those things, and then is that what's happening in the meeting rooms? Is that what's happening in the weight room? Is that what's happening at team functions, at community service projects? Is that kind of love and atmosphere genuinely, bleeding through all aspects of the program? And I think no matter who I talk to, I think it is.
He's Dustin Curtis, head football coach at Dorman, and obviously Dorman, one of the bigger, if not the biggest, jobs in the state. And before I let you go, I want to give you a chance because I didn't play football in high school. You did. You played for Jimmy Satterfield, and I know he is a guy that you, even though he's passed on, you still hold very near and dear to your heart. How did Coach Satterfield impact you and the way you now coach football and the way you handle players? Because I remember during our time, I think Coach Satterfield came through the cafeteria one time and looked at a bunch of people, said, I look forward to seeing you all out there at the tryout this afternoon for football. He looked at me and said, Gunner, we have plenty of water bottle spots open. And Coach Satterfield was a great guy, but he had a big impact on you. He had a big impact on the state of South Carolina. How did Jimmy Satterfield impact Dustin Curtis, the head football coach at Dorman High School?
I think one of the coolest things is that, I was at the state clinic the other day and got to hear Bobby Lamb speak, who's now taken over at starting the football program at Anderson University. And, he was a Furman guy. And it seems like no matter how long I coach or how long it's been since Coach Satterfield coached or even how long it's been since he passed away, somebody talks about him and just keeps on reminding me about the impact that he made on people. I remember when I first got the job at Westwood, he came through with his son, Sean, and they stopped at a practice, and he just kind of hung out the whole time and gave me some feedback, talked to my kids. And, that is the kind of coach that he was. And while I remember a lot of great moments about high school football, you remember the big games and some of the big things that happened. You don't always, you don't remember every play. That's not what stays with you forever. What stays with you forever is the feeling that you get about your high school program. What emotions come back, and he's such a part of that. I remember just as many times off the field, cutting up with him, and how easy he was to get along with and to joke around with. But at the same time, when you knew he meant business and got serious, he flipped that switch extremely well. And that is something that I've tried to do, to maybe emulate him a little bit, is to be as loose with my kids as I can and cut up with them and be genuine, but also be consistent enough and love on them enough to know that, when it's time to be serious, it's time to be serious, and I can get on them and I can discipline them and those things. And I feel like he did that. And, we hung out at his house. He took seniors on the lake on his boat and those kinds of things. And, that's what made me want to coach, is just knowing that, he didn't have to do that when it wasn't football practice, but he chose to because he loved the kids.
I understand you have added to your coaching staff Will Clark, another Lexington native. Good luck with that, buddy. Good luck.
Oh,
Good luck.
Man, I tell you what, he's got. I've never seen somebody hold on to such little hair as Will Clark. I keep telling him that I will totally just give him a Gillette, and he just won't listen. So maybe you can help with that. But for all those listening, we have Lexington North up here. We have Zach Rich, Thomas Bryan, Dustin Curtis, and Will Clark now, and it's pretty cool having all these Lexington graduates up here. And my wife's a Lexington grad too, so I guess that makes a good solid 5 of us that are hanging around Dorman all the time.
You guys on the field today? Next few hours?
We are on the field at 9:00, sir. Yes, we are.
Well, good luck.
Day 3, first day of film.
There you go. Get out there. Good luck, buddy. Appreciate you joining us. Always appreciate talking to you, and look forward to maybe catching up with you during the season.
Absolutely. Hey, now I do want to say I know that he's going to the other Carolina school, and I know that there's a lot of Carolina people that hope that they pull both of them. But DJ Geff is just as equal of a fantastic young man as Marquis is, and I'm really happy for both of them. Both of them are kind of following the family tradition, so to speak, and who knows, maybe we'll get to see them play against each other in some big time bowl games. But appreciate those kids, and I appreciate you guys having me on this morning.
Always glad to do it, buddy. Good luck this season. Look forward to catching up soon. He is Dustin
You
Curtis,
got it, brother. Take care.
Dorman. Take care. Dorman head football coach. We'll come back. We'll catch up a little bit about that and a few other topics here as we roll along. It's Monday morning. You're listening to Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, and Bill Gunner. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And taking a peek out on the highways this morning, and things are moving along fairly well. We do have a report, though, of an accident. I-77 southbound in mile marker 3. Sorry about that. It was kind of glitching on the computer. I-77 southbound, mile marker 3. There is a collision there. We do want to let you know about. Traffic-wise, or weather-wise, that is. Hot and humid today. Could see a stray afternoon shower or storm. High of 96, but again, the humidity putting the heat index a little over 100. Tomorrow, much of the same. Partly cloudy, hot and humid. Chance for that afternoon shower or a storm. High of 96 as well. And the heat index of 102, but it's warming up right now. 74 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Sponsored by AutoZone. Get the zone, AutoZone. When Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are both considered starting quarterbacks, how many starting quarterbacks do you really have? Panthers coach Matt Rule says the two will decide who's number one through competition. Wrong answer, Matt. When you have more than one starter, you really have none. What a mess. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can really control your savings. Because when you drive less, you save more with pay per mile. So you're really in control of your savings. Only paying for the miles you drive. Yeah, life is good when you're in the driver's seat. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today. Not available in every state. Savings vary, subject to terms and conditions available. Allstate brand medical insurance company.
Make cool this summer with AC Pro and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get a $15 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro ready-to-use refrigerant products that include a hose and gauge. Beat the heat before you hit the road with AC Pro at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
Auto Parts.
Sponsored by Family Dollar. At Family Dollar, we've got more of what you want for back to school. Kickstart your day the right way with cereals from General Mills, Post, and Kellogg's. Fall back into fashion with a huge selection of apparel and footwear for the entire family. Family Dollar, helping you do more. What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, won't say.
All right. Yeah, it is hard to press. Jen, I'm going to do Casey Kyra right here, kind of as a promo when we come back.
Okay.
That way,
Yeah,
I can do that and then do the other one and bolt out here.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got a little drinking problem, spilling beverages.
Oh boy, there's going to be an engineer waiting for you.
They're not. I know.
Y'all know how much the robe that Ric Flair wore to the ring last night cost? I'm gonna tell you on air, but Flair took a razor blade to his forehead last night to cause bleeding.
Why? We are heading back in, but wow, that's weird.
107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Barrett, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Big thank you to Dustin Curtis, head football coach at Dorman High School, for joining us to talk about Marquis Anderson committing to South Carolina yesterday by picking out a bottle of syrup with the Gamecock logo on it, pouring it on some pancakes, and enjoying a little pancake lunch, Patrick. It's one way to go about making an announcement.
That is right. Breaking news. Did you see this on Twitter, Bill? Deshaun Watson.
I'm waiting for it. Go right ahead.
6 games.
This is, just coming out during the break. Deshaun Watson suspended 6 games, was not fined. So former federal judge Sue Robinson has found Watson violated the personal conduct policy and has suspended him 6 games per sources. Patrick, we'll veer hard right here on this and talk about it for a second. To me, that seems fair. It seems like it's the right thing. I don't know where we draw the line in all of this. I know that there's going to be some hot takes on this throughout the day, but 6 games, okay? Is that where do you go with that?
It's kind of what I expected. That's the number I said I expected. The NFL is always so inconsistent with their discipline anyway. This is one of the most complicated and weirdest cases that we've seen because there's only one civil suit left. He settled all of the rest of them. He was not charged criminally, but it's just in the personal conduct policy, the NFL can basically suspend you for just making the league look bad, which Deshaun Watson has undoubtedly done. It doesn't change anything in the people that are upset the Browns making this trade and guaranteeing all of his money so that he will in fact not lose any money for getting suspended for this. I understand all of that. It's just I would not have wanted to be the one deciding how much to suspend him for. The NFLPA has said that they will not appeal. I think they would have appealed if it was a year, but I think everyone's willing to just say 6 is enough that we'll just accept it. It's a really weird case, and I guess now we'll see Jacoby Brissett for 6 games in a Browns uniform. I don't think they're going to try and do anything else. Maybe he can win them a couple games, but that's the football meaning of this. But we will now see Deshaun Watson for the first time in several years now in a Browns uniform starting, I guess, week 7.
It'll be interesting. As you just said, the Players Association will not appeal the disciplinary sanction there against Watson. We'll see how this kind of comes out throughout the day. Again, Watson, this news breaking during our last commercial break. So Deshaun Watson suspended for the first 6 games of the season. If this is the case, let's look at the NFL picture of it real quick, Patrick, here. When you look at the NFL picture of it, Cleveland Browns obviously making this move in an attempt to win a Super Bowl. That's why they're doing this. That's why they went away from Baker Mayfield to get one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And when you look at the Browns, Patrick, and you talk about 6 games, all right, this is an organization who didn't just build for 2022. They're obviously thinking of 2023, 2024, and beyond. What does it do to their season, though, now when you take them out for 6 games?
Well, if you look at their schedule right now, their season openers are going to be in Carolina. So Jacoby Brissett's first start will be against Panthers. They can beat the Panthers with Jacoby Brissett. They've also got the Jets, Steelers, Falcons in their first 4 games. I mean, it would be crazy to say they'd be 4-0. I would be shocked if they were. But crazier things have happened in sports and in football. That's 4 very, very winnable games, no matter really who's at quarterback. They're going to have a great running game. Nick Chubb will be able to probably win them one of those games, and Myles Garrett can just wreak havoc back there for one game. Like, the Browns are a really good roster, so I would not be surprised if they're more than in good shape after 4 games. And then they'll have the Chargers and Patriots will be the last 2 games before he comes back. Deshaun Watson's debut will most likely, if the game 7 is his first start, will be October 23rd at Baltimore against the Ravens. So a division rival to open his Browns career will be Deshaun Watson versus Lamar will be probably must-watch television.
803-404-6100. We'll get into that a little bit more, get back into the recruiting weekend that was for South Carolina, and also we will touch base on the Ric Flair fight last night. Oh, boy, unbelievable. We'll get into that a little bit more this morning. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007. Gas was $2.79 a gallon.
So I don't really have to tell you the issue about gas prices. If you're driving around, you have seen those prices go up and up and up.
Bread was $1.58 a loaf. And on November 12th, 2007, 107.5 The Game went on the air.
We are so excited to be part of the Columbia sports community. And with that, I'm going to welcome my father, Duke Staley, like me, a lifelong Columbian. Glad to be here with you, buddy. Thanks, I'm glad to be here with you. I'm so excited. Great opening. I'll tell you what, I got chills on my back already.
And now we're going to celebrate our 15th anniversary with you, because without you, there is no us. Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner. You're home with the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Keeping your house clean, well, that's a lot of fun during the month of August because kids are going back to school. They're probably outside playing. They're dragging dirt in, making your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery all look, well, dirty, and you don't want that. You want a nice, clean home. That means it's time to call Zerorez. That's who I turn to, the Cleaning Game's MVP, the most valuable player, because they know exactly how to keep your home looking spotless with their patented ZR Water technology. No soap equals no residue, which equals soft, fluffy carpets that stay cleaner longer. Zerorez uses no harsh chemicals, which means pure safety for your family, your pets, for everybody involved. So don't hesitate any longer. Call Zerorez 803-262-4020. Get them lined up today to come out to your house. That's right. In the month of August, it's back to school time, which means it's officially time to clean up the mess left in your home. And Zerorez knows that every dollar counts. So right now, when you mention my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119. Again, 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. 803-262-4020, or you can schedule with ease online. ZerorezColumbia.com is the way to do that. Again, 803-262-4020, or schedule with ease, ZerorezColumbia.com. I've got kids. Austin's running around here tracking dirt in. Who knows what else on the carpet, the rugs, the tile. I've got to keep Zerorez in the phone bank to call them each and every time, and you need to do the same. 803-262-4020, or you can schedule with ease online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
We do have a report of a little bit of debris in the roadway. I-26 eastbound around mile marker
Jen, I just responded to you.
Size local craft beer drafts. Only at Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
If you work for one of South Carolina's 5,700 manufacturing companies, you're part of something really cool. Hey, this thing's cool. Oh, this machine is so cool.
Yes, it's the same training program we've used since 2002. So what, Bill?
Even Richard here is cool. But his outdated employee training program isn't. We can help you with that. What if you're a small manufacturer, like these guys?
You mean to tell me another best fail inspection? Not cool.
But you need a quality management system that satisfies the needs of the big guys. We can help with that too. What if you fix things? How do you find, hire, and hold on to your best employees? Yep, we can do that too. We know that manufacturing is a complex symphony of moving parts, and that if any one part is out of sync, everything can come to a complete and utter stop. Definitely not cool. SCMEP has the resources to help your manufacturing operation thrive. Now that's definitely cool. Visit scmep.org for a free competitiveness review.
Sponsored by SCMEP.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
$8:37 on a Monday morning, August the 1st. We are up and off and running. Plenty to get to over the next several days as we get you ready for the first preseason football game on Thursday night. The Raiders and the Jags take on. But first, I tell you what, you want to make sure you are feeling good and that you're ready to get out in the yard and throw the football around. Maybe start tailgating, and with KC Chiropractic Center, they will get you ready for it. If you've been experiencing pain in your back, if you've had arthritis, sore muscles, maybe you just want to feel great again, it's time to get in touch with KC Chiropractic, 803-796-2424. Dr. Peyton, Dr. Roman Cooper, well, they've had plenty of experience, 20 years individually each of helping patients here in the Midlands get back to living the lifestyle they have been wanting to live. They are dedicated to getting you and your loved ones out of pain and staying healthy so you can focus on enjoying your life. Call KC Chiropractic Center today to get that appointment lined up. They file all major insurance plans. They work on all ages. They're not going to run you through the treatment mill. They're going to make sure that each treatment is dedicated to getting you better. 803-796-2424. Every person is different. Back pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, it's all different. So you need doctors that are focused on you, not just some random exercise to get you better. You need someone who is dedicated to focusing on you and your issues. KC Chiropractic Center works with each and every patient to give them a specific treatment to get them back to living the lifestyle they want to live. That's why they stand out. That's why they've continued to take care of the Midlands for over 20 years. 803-796-2424. Call KC Chiropractic today and line up that appointment. Patrick, obviously the news just breaking there in the last 10, 15 minutes on Deshaun Watson. We'll continue to watch the fallout from that today. Should be interesting, but you mentioned it. You know, the Browns, where do you put the Browns roster in the grand scheme of the NFL?
Definitely top 10. I think they're, probably right around the top 10 range. I mean, they have a really good roster. Myles Garrett's one of the most dominant players in football. They just extended Denzel Ward, who's an awesome corner for them. Their secondary is actually going to probably be pretty good because I've heard a lot of buzz about Grant Delpit this offseason. They signed John Johnson from the Rams last year, and Grant Delpit had his first full healthy offseason after tearing his Achilles right before his rookie season. The safety at LSU, obviously. Offensively, They add Amari Cooper. I mean, that's huge right there. They should be a really good team. Their offensive line's really good too, and they've always got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, so pretty loaded just overall. I think their roster's definitely top 10. It's them and the Ravens in the AFC North, and as the best rosters. And then the Bengals are just so far outweighed by that incredible receiving group that I do feel like they can pretty much single-handedly win games with just Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow's connection.
It'll be interesting. You mentioned it. You look at the Browns now, right, as we get the word that Watson is suspended 6 games. They'll open with the Panthers, so Baker Mayfield at home in Carolina gets a chance to get revenge on the Browns right off the bat. That game will be pretty interesting on September the 11th when the Panthers host the Browns, and then it's then the Jets come to Cleveland, the Steelers at the Falcons, the Chargers, and then the Patriots. No primetime. Well, one primetime game. That is a Thursday night game against the Steelers in Game 3. Go ahead.
It's actually pretty ridiculous. His first 5 games back, Deshaun Watson should get back week 7, and he's going to travel to Baltimore to play the Ravens. Then it's going to be a primetime game against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Then he'll travel to Miami and play Tua, Tyreek Hill, and the Dolphins. And then he'll be in Buffalo to take on Josh Allen and the Bills before he plays Tom Brady and the Bucs. Like, he is going to be, I mean, goodness gracious. You can argue they're playing 4 of the 5 best teams of football. I mean, you could make that case.
Yeah, so we'll continue to see how all of it kind of plays out for Deshaun Watson in the next couple weeks, see if there's any kind of appeals. Again, the Players Association has said they will not appeal this, and it looks like 6 games is be exactly what it is, but we'll continue to keep an eye on that as we go through. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. I'm off to basketball camp. Well, I'm not in a basketball camp. I'm 40. I am helping run the basketball camp with Bailey Harris here in Lexington. So Patrick and Jen will bring us home. Jen will probably brag about, again, beating me in the NASCAR picks. Patrick will keep you updated on the Washington Commanders and the expectations for Carson Wentz. And there was some recruiting from the weekend he can get into. I will be back tomorrow morning, Patrick. Good luck. 1 segment. That's all you got to get through.
We can make it. We can make it.
You guys can survive. Jen, you got it. I will see y'all tomorrow. Patrick and Jen carry us home next. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Monday edition of the Extra Point, it is football season. This is now every week.
What was that?
I know Steven's not talking about me and or Patrick screwing
No, I
things
think
up.
he was talking. That was in there a lot earlier. I think when we were talking Browns or Panthers. That was in there a lot before the end. All right, I'm off. I will see y'all in the morning. Later. See ya.
Downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FREE for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's promo code FREE. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FREE for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code FREE for a $5 bonus.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com. Canty can fix it.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet. Quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunther, Patrick Barrett, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
The early game, 107.5
The game.
And 8:47 on a Monday morning, Monday, August 1st. There will be college football this month. We are just 26 days away from the start of college football, week 0. We will not have South Carolina football this month, but that is okay. Week 0 slate we've discussed, not much to write home about, but we will have Nebraska and Northwestern, a real live Power 5 game between two real live Power 5 programs. We'll get Vanderbilt traveling to Hawaii. Just 26 days. 26 days from all that. So time to celebrate college football is right around the corner. And we have talked plenty of college football this morning. Big weekend for Shane Beamer and his staff. It's a big recruiting weekend. South Carolina landing 4 commits over the weekend, and they are now up to 22nd nationally. And it's actually a good 22nd class. Obviously, when we're this far out, you look at the top 20 rankings or top 25 rankings, and some of the numbers are just very skewed. When you look at a program like a Baylor, who's sitting here at 15th nationally because they have 23 commits, so they have a ton of points. Texas Tech has 23 commits, so these are the 15 and 16th ranked teams in the country. South Carolina down at 22 with 15 commits. But South Carolina currently has 7 4-star committed players now. Their average rating per player is 88.72. which would put them much higher, probably in the 15 range, because they do have a higher rating than both Baylor at 88.09, Texas Tech at 87.33, Cincinnati, Washington, Northwestern, all programs ranked ahead of South Carolina, Iowa, all programs ranked ahead of South Carolina that have lower average ratings per player. So South Carolina really is putting together a good class right now. They need to keep it going. They need to land a couple more highly ranked 4-stars. There's a couple players from the state of South Carolina that can help them do that. But outside of this top 10, like Notre Dame, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, the usual suspects, they're all putting together ridiculous classes. Alabama has a 94.89 average rating. They've got 4 5-stars and 9 4-stars already committed. So South Carolina in really good shape, but they've got to keep up with everybody else because Florida is now number 12th nationally with an average rating of 91.14. They have 14 4-star players committed. And we talked about it recently. Billy Napier was catching a lot of flack from Florida fans for not recruiting at the level that they expected when he came in, and that was the book on Billy Napier. It was going to be a professional-like program. He was going to recruit at a high level. They missed on some kids early, losing a Pup Howard to South Carolina, losing some guys to Miami, It didn't look good, but they had a monster weekend, and now Florida's putting together a really good class. So South Carolina needs to finish strong, but this type of weekend was huge for them, and you start looking at their class, and you can feel pretty darn good about what they've got. I mentioned those 7 4-stars. You've got a pair of linebackers from the state of Florida, Jaden Robinson and Pup Howard. Grayson Howard, obviously, from Andrew Jackson High School in Jacksonville, Florida. Jaden Robinson from Columbia High School in Lake City, Florida. You feel good that you've got a pair of offensive linemen that you can build around in Trevon Ball from Pace Academy in Atlanta, and who you just landed. We've talked a lot about this morning. We had Coach Dustin Curtis on, his new high school coach. Dorman High School product Marquis Anderson, the number 136 rated player nationally, the 5th rated offensive lineman in the country, and number 2 player overall in the state of South Carolina. So big to have him. And you've obviously got some of the skill players in Dontavius Braswell from Sandersville, Georgia, Kelton Henderson from Florida as well. So a really good class being put together right now. Love seeing the offensive linemen. Jatavius Shivers was another one that South Carolina that landed this weekend. He's a 3-star. But all the tools, 6'7", 290 pounds right now. So if he can get bulked up, he can definitely be an ideal sized offensive tackle for South Carolina. So really, really good week for Shane Beamer. Exactly what the doctor ordered. Some in-state kids, some offensive line help. They needed to land these kids from in the state, and it was cool to see. It was cool to see the kids buying in. Marquis Anderson obviously committing with Syrup, putting all the different teams, the finalists in Syrup, and choosing the South Carolina, and then Monty Grahams, the pass rusher, was the other big name from the weekend. The 4-star pass rusher out of Sumter High School. So keeping the in-state kids home is the name of the game right now, and there's going to be a couple more opportunities as we get closer. So big weekend for Shane Beamer, big weekend for a former Gamecock, and Deebo Samuel, who was the last of his draft class to be holding in. There was that elite group of receivers from that class. Deebo Samuel, the pair of Ole Miss guys, and A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf, and Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders. Also, kind of flying under the radar, as he always has, Hunter Renfrow was in that draft class, and he got paid as well. So good for him. Nobody really talks about him, but he's just quietly been really good in the NFL, and we will compliment Clemson players when it becomes necessary. But Deebo signed a 3-year, $71.5 million extension with $58 million guaranteed. A very similar deal to the rest of the guys in that class. Terry McLaurin got a 3-year extension, $71 million. Less guaranteed. He got about $53 guaranteed. A.J. Brown was the first to sign. He signed a 4-year, $100 million contract after being traded from the Titans to the Eagles. So he's in a $25 million AAV. And it just is an interesting deal. Obviously, there was a lot of hurt feelings. I don't know what the best way to describe this tumultuous little offseason Deebo's had in San Francisco. There was some weird liking of tweets and just general unhappiness, and it was kind of childish, but that's just kind of how the NFL is now. And we've seen now 2 high-profile players be unhappy on social media with their team. Kyler Murray unfollowing the Cardinals on all platforms. Deebo Samuel liking tweets saying he wants to get out of San Francisco and that it wasn't being used right and this and that. But at the end of the day, as we've seen in both of these cases, money cures everything. The Cardinals give Kyler Murray $230 million, $160 million guaranteed, and all of a sudden there's no more hurt feelings. It's all rainbows and butterflies now. Deebo Samuel doesn't like being used as a running back. They give him $58 million guaranteed, $71.5 over the next 3 years, and all of a sudden you can use me however you want. So money cures everything at the end of the day. It will be interesting to see how the 49ers use him going forward, because they've got an incentive to keep him healthy now too. They can't just say, look, you're under contract, you're on a rookie deal, we're going to use you as we see fit, and then you can go sign wherever you want and be used however you want. That's really not going to be the case anymore. They're going to pay him $58 million over the next 3 years, whether he's playing or not. So I do wonder if we're going to see a noticeable change in the way he's used. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense schematically, because one of their biggest weapons is sort of the misdirection and things that they can do with him. And we've got a running quarterback threat like Trey Lance, which is obviously the reason they drafted him, because Kyle Shanahan, the run game is an integral part of his offense. He schemes up the run game better than anybody. So having Deebo as a threat, having your staple of running backs, I mean, they have just flown through running backs. You can name a million different running backs, dating all the way back to Jerick McKinnon, Raheem Mostert, just tons of guys that have been able to have really good success at the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan. So to have that threat with Trey Lance and Deebo, And you've got Brandon Ayuk, who's also a run after the catch type of guy. There's a lot of options, not to mention maybe the best tight end in the league in George Kittle. There's a lot of weapons at their disposal, and it'll be really interesting to see how they're used. So good for Debo. There's going to be no more real hold-ins. All the wide receivers have gotten paid at this point, and it looks like probably Justin Jefferson's going to be the next one that's going to sort of change the complexion of wide receiver contracts. He's going to be the next one to get a monster deal. And he'll probably be looking the $25 to $30 million a year range. So that is most of the NFL news. Obviously, the Deshaun Watson verdict just came out, and Judge Shu Robinson has suggested a 6-game suspension for Deshaun Watson. Still a little unknown what exactly this means. The NFL, I think, can come in and do their own punishment, but I believe they've pretty much said that whatever was suggested by the courts is what they were going to run with, because it can kind of keep their hands clean. They can just say, look, it wasn't our decision, it was the judge. It's a really weird situation, and I see people on Twitter saying Calvin Ridley getting suspended for a year for gambling versus Deshaun Watson. It's hard to talk about that, because there's also the court system, which didn't really do anything. It absolved him of any criminal punishments, and it's just a very weird situation. But 6 games for Deshaun Watson. The NFLPA is not going to appeal. It looks like this is exactly what it's going to be, and we can expect him to come back on October 23rd against the Ravens in Baltimore before playing the Bengals, Dolphins, Bills, Bucks in a row. So going to be quite the test as soon as he does come back, and it's going to be up to Jacoby Brissett to try and keep the Browns in playoff contention until then. So will be a very interesting start to the season. This crazy, weird, uncomfortable saga hopefully is behind us, and we can start looking at football, because there is football this month, and we will be talking a lot of college football as the month of August wears on. For Jen and Patrick, Bill will be back tomorrow. Happy birthday, Gamecock Larry. Everybody have a great day.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Whew. No, I had a lot to get to. In that last couple minutes. I had like 10 minutes to basically recap the whole show. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.